Go Pizza presents STP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Are you guys ready for it? Are you guys ready for it?
Ready for what?
It's
Oh, yeah.
coming.
So much.
Are you ready? 'Cause
Yeah.
it could happen at any time. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it.
Oh, my God. Adam, what is it? For the love of God, tell me what it is.
An offer sheet.
Well, hey, Adam, why should we fear an offer sheet? Because the team's no good to begin with. What else are we afraid of, Toronto? What else has us anxious?
Ron Hainsey making a defensive zone exit.
What else?
Oh my God. If I have to see another 6 segments a day on the potential offer sheets that are coming this summer. Remember, there are 12 to 15 teams who have to sign RFA. Oh yeah, who have to sign RFAs. Remember that. And then the other 10, 15 teams don't have the cap space to do it. So let's just relax.
Is this the new Willy Watch?
Oh, for sure it's the new Willy Watch. Absolutely.
Yummy. I thought we were switching to Petrangelo Watch.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Parayko Watch. And then it was just P Defenseman Watch. And now it's offer sheet. Watch. Sponsored by Tissot. Because it's fitting.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wait, the watch?
Yeah.
Because it fits. Because it's adjustable, so it fits.
Also,
fitting.
no.
And it also
it's
fits
a
the
watch.
segment. Well, yeah, it fits what you're saying.
What?
You guys are both bad.
You should have done like clothes, like Hanes.
Why would I do Hanes?
Because it snugs you.
Oh.
It fits. Hanes fits, you know?
It'd be
That could be
great
their
if
new
we were doing
campaign.
like a Hainesy trade watch.
Sponsored by Hanes.
Yeah.
Then Michael
And he
Jordan.
got traded for a goon, right? Because then
Yeah.
it would be Hanes boxers.
Oh, 'cause he's
I am displeased with how this show is going. And you should be as well.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I just everybody calm down with the RFA talk. We're not even in January yet. We haven't even passed the trade deadline. How about we talk about potential trades at the trade deadline?
How about this?
How about that?
No, we're too early even for that.
What should we talk about?
I think. Nothing. I think we all need a timeout, damn it.
So we
Talk
just
about the
Yeah.
World Juniors.
Sure.
Why not?
Sure.
All
I
the
don't know.
days
away.
And
I
the
love
foam
it.
pucks.
I love it when everybody has an opinion about who was cut from the World Juniors camp, and nobody's ever heard their names before.
For one, say no.
Guy was cut. That is unfair for him. Guy number 2 made it.
You all
I'm
do
upset.
what everyone else does, and you look at your sheet, and you go, but this person has 8 goals, and this guy who made it has 7. What, is Canada fucked in the head? Why would they? Sorry, I just...
Is that your
I know
impression?
a bunch of you are like, listen, I know it's marked explicit, but usually
You're
can
trying.
tell
You're
when it's
trying. I
coming.
can tell you're trying to like hold back on the swearing. Like you're trying to peel it back a little bit and be like,
Well,
only. And I agree. You should only use it sparingly. But I've noticed, especially this season, that you're like adulting it a little bit, and I'm really like we're getting away from our punk rock roots here.
well, because well, fuck you, Adam.
That's better.
Do you hold back because the LFRs are censored?
I just know people have kids, and they're all like, "Oh gosh, there's a conversation."
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it our fault? When
No.
we marked
It's
this
fully not.
podcast, that's like what, like, oh, there's nakedness in Game of Thrones, and the creator's going, well, you know what? We're going to cut the nakedness because there might be a child watching.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And
same
we're gonna shrink the
thing.
dragons down so they're dog sized, and they're just happy, and everybody's happy. Everybody walks around. They've each got a dragon. It wags its tail. What a happy show!
Jason
Game of Thrones,
Momoa.
HBO. Jason Momoa
Right?
died in
Game
the
of
first
Thrones
season.
actually runs
Man.
on TVO. Yeah.
Right after
For
Paw
a second,
Patrol.
I was like, "What?" PBS. They just had the whole cast of Game of Thrones, like, with your pledge.
Right after Caillou coming up.
With your
Daenerys
pledge, we can
Starbuck.
keep Game of Thrones going another season.
With your pledge, we can upgrade to 4 dragons.
Who's worse, Caillou or King Joffrey?
Caillou.
Caillou.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
King
okay, we're in
Joffrey at least
agreement.
has some power moves, right?
Well,
King Joffrey
yeah,
drops.
He at
drops
least
it.
has the excuse of, I was raised to be a psychopath and
Right.
also was in a position of power. Caillou's just a shit.
Yeah.
He's a... Anyway, where were we? Oh, no. Where I wanted to go...
Well, I hope your kids were listening to that.
Leafs. Hope your
Censor the
effing
show.
kids. Couldn't even bring myself. Hey, listen. Leafs fans, everyone else shut up for a second. I got to talk to Leafs fans, all right?
All right, we'll get out of your way.
How are we going to do this? How are we going to survive? How are we going to be able to get through the season? We can't handle any losses. Do you know how many losses the Penguins had in their back-to-back cup runs? Almost 90. How are we going to do this if every loss we come undone, we melt, and all that's left are our shoes? That's what happens when you melt, Jesse. All that's left are your shoes.
That's like,
I don't
that's
know
like
if that's
you
true.
turn into a puddle.
Indiana
and
Jones in The Last Crusade?
Yeah,
or-
and your toes curl.
Or is it the other one?
And people are like, how did this house land on this Leafs fan?
Indiana Jones and the Philosopher's Stone.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's the
Yeah.
one you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's Sorcerer Jones, idiot.
Is the coffee good today?
It's so... I just took, like, my first sip.
Oh, man, it hasn't even
Leafs
kicked
fans.
I don't
in.
know.
Okay, but go. Continue.
How?
Maple Laughs fans.
Oh, yeah!
We need Matt Martin back.
Maple Loaves! First round exit, here we come, if they get there.
If they get
Oh, I love it. Already talking about how strong your division is, so you're armed with an excuse when the time comes. You losers, you big bunch of nothings. Leafs fan garbage. And you Leafs fans just go, I know. And you're like Silas from the Da Vinci Code, just whipping yourself in the back. And muttering things to yourself, the Clarkson contract. The Boland trade. Enough! Act like you've been there before, even though you haven't. For crying out loud. They gotta make changes. They will!
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, then we yell. But for now, they outshot Tampa, they outchanced Tampa, they flat out beat Tampa everywhere, but on the score sheet, the place that matters, and that's unfortunate. But how are you not at least a little bit encouraged once you step back from your Vasilevsky rage that he decided to be a goddamn warlock? How can you watch that game and be like, we're doomed?
I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by the Toronto Maple Leafs last night.
Me too!
That was the best 4-1 loss I've ever seen.
What a strange way of putting it. But how much better do we feel if the difference in the game, those 2 goals at the end of the second never happened, the difference in the game is literally a centimeter. That's less than an inch for you Americans watching.
That's just about what it was.
It's
Yeah.
literally a centimeter. The puck is in Freddie Anderson's glove, like near a save, like one of the. You could have
Well,
had
he
2 of the
still
top
caught
5
it.
saves of the season.
He still caught it.
He still caught it.
So if
which
he's
is
an inch
impressive
out,
enough.
it's not in.
You could put it that way.
So
Adam.
okay, so then here's the thing. All
But
right,
we would feel better, and it'd still be a loss. Oh, do they got to lose a certain way for you to feel good? Frig off!
if they're gonna lose anyway, that's the best way to lose right there. The way they lost.
I'm mad.
Now you're just littering.
I threw a sticker. No, you don't pick that up. You leave it there so everyone knows.
Don't litter, please.
That was
I'll
anticlimactic,
pick
and
it
it's off camera.
I'll pick it up. No, I threw it at the camera. They
Oh,
know.
They know.
Everyone heard it too. Just like, yeah.
Voice.
What?
Heard it too.
They heard it too.
This is the voice I use when you know I mean it.
This is
No,
what
you know what
I
it is?
say, Jesse.
This is Steve's impression of anybody on Twitter. That is his.
Yeah.
I had people tweeting me last night telling me that we needed to trade. No,
Oh yeah.
Well, I
Did you
forgot.
know that? That he shit, is shit, was shit, and will be shit?
We'll continue to be shit.
Oh yeah, cause of his dad and money, and should be playing for free.
For the love of the game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pasternak plays for free.
Who does?
He does.
David Pasternak.
Yeah, people talk about him like he Friggin' he was almost late to the game today because you don't know this, but his real job is he's a goat farmer.
No,
and he just herds sheep and goats.
In Pasternak's case, that quote that he, because he grew up, I think, at a economically pretty disadvantaged.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'd play hockey for free.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Except you're not. That's like Nirvana when they were like, when Nirvana was like, oh, we don't want to be famous. Okay, man.
But
why did you submit your demos to a record company then?
Yeah, also that. And he gets up in the morning and plows the field and never misses an optional skate. Unlike Greenlander over here. That's what they called him, a few people.
That's creative.
It is.
It's not creative.
It is. They should be the ones getting 6.9. They should be the ones getting the sex number in millions of dollars per season. They should be getting the sex number.
We're going to pay you $6 million.
Look, guys, I'm not happy they lost. For crying out loud. But how are we going to make it? It's not even Christmas. You're halfway done your advent calendar. And you're coming undone every time they lost. It's like we're out of practice.
Advent calendars are so stupid.
You're wrong.
Wrong.
Hey,
you're absolutely
Daily
wrong.
chocolate.
Arbitrarily tell you, well, just eat the chocolate you want every day.
Jesse.
Yeah.
If you get a good advent calendar, then every day is good chocolate.
No, just eat the chocolate. Why do you need a calendar to tell you to
Because
eat
it's
chocolate?
fun.
You don't understand.
What part about it is
you don't
fun?
do advent calendars, so you don't know.
Yeah.
I do. I have
do?
an advent calendar going right now.
Then
and
why
I
are you
hate
saying
it.
it's super
I
fun?
hate it because it's not my choice to do it.
Oh,
I remember it. Oh, did
it's
you?
Notorious's choice.
But
We're calling her Notorious.
It
It's
is
Jesse's
the worst
girlfriend.
thing.
Who has never
It
been
is-
mentioned on this show before.
And I hate every second of it. And the fact that you bring it up boils my blood because it's stupid. I just want to eat the chocolate.
No, okay, here's what you do. You're a grown-ass man. Go buy the chocolate. And also, there's this advent calendar.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be walking around the house, I'll be working on something, and I'll be like, oh, I get chocolate. Not just I get chocolate and there is chocolate. I'm supposed to eat the chocolate. It's my job, Jesse. It's my job to eat the chocolate.
I don't need something or someone to tell me to eat chocolate.
Me neither.
If I want
That's
chocolate,
why it's great.
I will have chocolate.
Jesse, do you think that's the only chocolate I have? Look at me. I have more chocolate. There's surplus chocolate in the Dangle home. I'm still talking like that. Have you noticed? I don't know why. I'm telling a story to my grandson.
If somebody
And I'm a
threw,
gold miner from the Yukon.
if Steven Stamkos had a piece of chocolate, would he slew foot it?
Man, okay, yeah. A lot
the
of
refs
people-
did put their whistles away last night. There's no question about that.
That's the thing. No, they friggin' didn't. There were 9 penalties.
Well, there
Yeah.
were a lot of penalties that could have been penalties
Yeah, it
in a
could have
normal
been
game.
like 18 penalties.
Yeah, that could have been
instead
like
of
the
9,
entire third period could
Oh,
have
when
just been
they
penalties.
4-on-1 Nas? Like, what part of the code is that?
And Nas ended up in the
okay.
box too. That's the best part.
Oh.
4-on-1, and Nas is like, well, no, we got to give Nas a penalty because he's
That
Nas.
did start because he was being a shit. It started because he was being
He
a
didn't
shit.
throw
but
the first
4-on-1.
cross check, dog.
No.
He didn't throw the first cross check.
No, Braden Coburn was being a dick all night. And yeah, the Stamkos thing, I don't know if I'd call it a slew foot. It didn't look overly intentional.
Yeah, I don't think that was a slew foot.
It's a hold.
Oh, 100%.
For crying out loud.
But I saw it, like, last night, my wife was sleeping beside me because ever since she's become pregnant, she is the most tired human being on the face of the earth.
That's adorable.
Oh, yeah, it's like she sits down on the couch.
And an excuse.
Man up!
Yeah.
Caprice,
Is there yelling at her?
stay up! Watch the Leafs lose this game like a man. Nope. What are you looking at?
Jesse's pulled up the skirmish.
Nice.
It's funny. That's how forgotten Kadri is. I was on the radio today, and they're like, and Tavares got attacked, and no one did anything. And I'm like, well, I'm sure Nas would have had he not had 3 or 4 players on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were finishing your point about Caprice being tired.
Well, no. I mean, so I didn't want to yell at the screen, but I felt like yelling at the screen, but I had to stop myself because she was sleeping, and I was like, that would be rude. I wouldn't want to wake up to somebody screaming in a hockey game. But that particular play, I don't think it was a slew foot, but I for sure know that was a penalty, and I know the
was
ref
a
saw it,
hold.
and I have no idea why they didn't call it.
He held on to Riley's arm like it was a football. But
And that's the kind of penalty that when they because that's a decision. There's no.
the hold.
Yeah, it's a decision by the ref. When you don't call something like that, and listen, I'm not blaming that game on the refs. Tampa won because they won. They just
No,
won because
because
they
their
won.
goalie was on
yeah,
fire.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm not denigrating
God.
that. So if you're a Lightning fan, don't take this the wrong way. However, if it was Victor Hedman and say, I don't know, Austin Matthews did that, you would say the same thing. If you look at the play objectively, that is a penalty. So when the refs make a decision not to call it, because that's what it is. It's a decision. It's a choice.
Yeah.
You're not going by the rules that are written for the game. And that's a high incidence game. That's a game with a lot of potential penalties. But the point about the rules is that if you call them like they should be called, the incidences go down. At least the illegal incidences go down.
To me, it was a good example of that the narrative is BS, that the Leafs don't invite penalties. It was weird that the Leafs had the fewest penalties drawn and taken, and I think they still do. What? Why? And then they play in this game where there's 9. Come on. I think they just call Leaf games differently. Maybe they anticipate they're going to see something. I'm not saying they're biased against them, because obviously they're not calling on either side. But I think there's something in their brain where they go, it's going to be an easy night.
I think too, and the Flames went through something like this a couple years ago, where they became like the most penalized and the least called against. Well, was it since Weidman?
So they were, if I remember correctly, they were like a top 5, or I guess a bottom 5 team in terms of the penalties they received. And then the next year after Weidman,
they were the top.
Dennis Weidman, they were top by far, and someone had to be like, dude.
Yeah. Don't kid yourself, too. NHL teams complain about this all the time. This is something they call the league office about. It's the same in the NBA, same in the NFL. There's a lot riding on these games, and there's a lot on the line. And if you feel for a prolonged period of time that your team has been wronged as a president or a GM or whatever, you're going to make that call. And you're probably making it multiple times and going, what the hell's going on here? Yeah. And it's funny because people are probably thinking like, why don't the Leafs call and complain about that? The point I'm trying to make here is that everybody's calling all the time, so it's probably kind of blind noise for people at head office, right? It's like, oh, you're going to call me and complain about the penalties again. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you for your service. Yeah.
Well, and in fairness, the Leafs got a power play out of the Kadri thing.
Yeah.
And Babcock was mad, and Riley was mad, and everyone was mad. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach so mad after getting a power play.
When you look at a game like that, over the course of, let's say it's a best of 7. I wouldn't say a 7-game series. I wouldn't know. You can't predict where these things go.
Right.
But you play that game 7 times, the Leafs win 5 to 6 of them.
You'd think so.
Like they outshot Tampa double, and Vasilevsky.
And they were good ones.
I'll give you this. Vasilevsky had an amazing game, but Nazem Kadri, how many posts did he hit?
Oh, he hit the post. Matthews hit the post. Marlowe was robbed. Take your pick.
I'm just talking
Kapanen
posts.
Hit the post.
Just posts.
Kapanen,
how many posts do we have?
Unbelievable.
That's a tie game if all those posts go in.
And the posts, when you hit the post, it's not even a shot.
Is that
right?
Is that a stat they have on the box score? They
post hit?
Posts?
Post. The Viet summary?
I don't know that
it
they
would
do.
fall under miss. It would fall under a missed.
Yeah,
shot.
like a chance.
Yeah.
They go like scoring chances.
Do they specify posts hit?
I don't think they do. I think it's just like your chances, and then if they're blocked by a player or blocked by the post, I guess. Because I guess you could deduce that number by saying, here's how many chances they had. Here's how many shots they had. There's probably a good, probably 60% of those were posts. The in between number.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah. I have a theory, and I've already thrown this out there in the LFR today. But I want to know what you both thought of the 4th goal, where Babcock at the end of the second, with less than 30 seconds left, had the 4th line and the 3rd pair on the ice.
I didn't like that. That was another thing I was complaining about, was to myself as Capri slept beside me.
To Bindi and Cedric. Oh, look at this.
I mean, he did that at the end of the second period, and they got roasted for it. And I wondered why. Listen, we know Mike Babcock enough now to know that there's intention in everything that he does.
There you go.
Every move, there's intention. I couldn't figure out the intention in that one.
Okay. It could have been that he was dumb. It happens from time to time.
Mm-hmm. We all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes, and that would have been a big one. What I think happened is sometimes Babcock just goes, all right, we're going to see if you sink or swim. Have fun. Igor, Here you go. He was saying how it's going to be an evaluation game for his team heading into it. Well, let's see how the fourth line does, because they're going to have to play. Let's see how the third pair does, because they're going to have to play even more. They failed. That one test. It was just the one test.
No, would you say the third pair failed?
I mean, Dermott friggin' fired himself out of a circus cannon.
Yeah, that was
the offensive zone.
That was bad in the second period. But if you were to look at Dermott's been great all year. You can't take one game and go, well, he made one mistake at the end of the second, so we can't play him. I do think Freddie Gauthier, and no offense to him personally, proved last night he's not an NHL player on this team. I don't think if you're a team that's going for the cup, Freddie Gauthier is not in your lineup. You're too good.
There's different kinds of NHL players.
Yeah, he's a player on a middling team. He's a depth
regular
player.
Season.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing. That kind of guy gets exposed real quick.
End of the second there, that doesn't happen if it's not game 32 of the season. I think if that's game 3 versus Tampa in the playoffs, he doesn't do that because he's not that frustrated and he realizes that it's only a 2-game. He doesn't just say, go out there, fourth line.
Right.
Probably a little more timid anyway because it's the playoffs too, right?
So I'm not so concerned. I think that's a little mid-season thing that'll happen from time to time.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not just throwing them out there and learning lessons from what he sees. He's throwing them out there to learn lessons, I think.
This is your test. Because you got to test them at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Because I want to give Babcock the benefit of the doubt. That, like, surely, like, that's so elementary, right? We shouldn't be able to figure that out. Like, us three. Yes, don't put out your fourth line and third pair to end a period. Like, surely the highest paid coach in the league?
Yeah.
Or second?
Highest? Yeah.
Would know that.
Highest paid Leaf up until
like 2 years ago or last year?
This offseason when they signed Tavares. Because he made what? Isn't
my
that?
God, I think
Yeah, he was the highest paid Leaf until
Tavares.
Yeah.
He was the highest paid Leaf for like 3 years?
Wait, does he make more than Marlowe? No.
Marlowe makes $625. What does Babcock make?
Oh.
7?
No,
It's less than 7.
It's in the 6s.
It's in the 6s. This is interesting.
Anyways.
I like this. But yada, yada, yada.
I'm sidetracking.
No, listen. If they're going to make this mistake, it might as well be in their first game against Tampa in December, in game 32.
Sure.
Yes.
Like you said.
Yeah.
There are 50 games left.
Trade the whole
Wait,
team.
no, there aren't.
Yeah,
Wait, yes, there are.
you got it.
Hey, I did it.
But he didn't trust the answer.
But I didn't trust the ball because I
Babcock
screwed up the
makes,
math so early in the last episode.
6.25 is what Babcock makes.
Wow, so he makes as much as Patrick Marlowe.
Yeah.
So they make the
up
same
until
amount of
Patrick
money.
Marlowe,
Even so, I mean that's still tied for number 1 until Tavares showed up. I think that
It's sort of crazy.
I think the thing you take away from this game is that sometimes goaltenders steal games. That's just it is what it is.
And it's often Freddie.
Yeah,
You know,
well, exactly.
There's payback.
Yeah,
There's
karma.
payback, guys. Like, what do you think? The Leafs haven't done that? Is this your first season watching? It happens like this. Sometimes they win and sometimes they do not. Why am I the one telling you all to calm down? I'm just telling everyone what I tell myself, which is chill.
You know what you should do? You should chill and send us your favorite Sally on Twitter at Budweiser Canada.
You should jelly.
Yeah,
I don't
for
know.
Chelly season. No, it's Sally season. But use the hashtag Sally season. CELLYSZN. And the hashtag tweet Steve, tweet me, tweet Jesse. Make sure you include your Sally so we can hook you up with some Budweiser stuff. And of course, going into the holiday season, if you use the Dangle promo code, it gives you $5 off one of those beautiful Budweiser red lights, which are super fun and also a bit of an adjustment for your dogs.
Do you have yours set up?
No, because my dogs flip out whenever it happens. So I occasionally will do it, and then my dog Cedric will start barking and that sort of thing. Also, with my wife falling asleep at 5:30, 6 o'clock these days, not a good idea to wake people up when they're sleeping with a goal horn.
Hey.
Send us your favorite Sally.
Remember how we went a full episode without saying you were going to be a dad?
Yeah.
Have you ever brought up Cedric?
Yeah,
The dog?
We did.
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
that?
Did I say why I never brought him up?
No.
yeah, because-
you
Have I
couldn't
never
tell
said
the
that?
story, I think.
Oh,
because-
okay. So should I tell it now
You
then?
can
Now that
tell
we're on
it.
it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we got a second dog, and it was something that Caprice and I wanted to do or talked about doing, and I was definitely like the one that was pushing it a little bit. Like, I'd really like a second dog, you know, it'd be really fun. And so, of course, the same rescue that had Bindi, you know, we were on our honeymoon, and I look, and there's this picture of this little black schnauzer. And he's so adorable, like big eyes and a big mustache. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this?
He's a cute little old man.
Yeah, he is. And I looked at Caprice. I'm like, we got to email them. And she took one look at him, and was like, she sent the email on my account. Like, she just took my phone and sent the email.
So that was your honeymoon, baby.
Yeah, that was our honeymoon. So we got home, we adopted him. But the thing at the time was that we had a landlord that was not overly thrilled that
you had one dog.
That we had one dog. So we snuck the second one in and never posted about him on social media. And now that we're in a house, it doesn't matter. But
so you had him for like a year or something?
Close
like
to it. I think it was like, yeah, we moved out about 6 months later. Now that we own a house.
You just had a dog.
Yeah,
for half
right?
a year?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because that was the thing. We didn't tell them. This is bad, and I probably shouldn't be talking about it publicly, but they were very nice people. But they basically, we had signed we were down the pathway of signing the original paperwork with them, and then all of a sudden they threw in a no pets clause, which is illegal in Toronto. And
you legally can't tell someone in Toronto they can't own a pet.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the thing was, at that point, the signatures hadn't been made, so they can rescind the offer.
Yeah.
So I was like, because I have a couple different places that I was renting out. We had nowhere to live. And I had 5 days to figure it out. So I'm like, we have got to get in this place. We're signing these paperwork. And I remember coming back from the Junos on like a Via train, because that's where I was sent there on the Via.
Like everyone else.
To go to Ottawa. And I'm like signing these papers, and they're like, oh, by the way, no pets. I was like, so I'm like, well, fuck it. We're signing it anyway. And anyway, they found out following me on Instagram that I had a dog. And so anyway, that's why I didn't post about the second one. And they were really good people, but it was sort of an unfair thing to make. And it was an unfair position to put me in.
Don't say unfair. It's illegal.
It was also illegal. Yeah.
Illegal.
Yeah, so I had to...
Don't feel bad.
Yeah, but they were otherwise phenomenal landlords. So
great.
But,
good. What a compliment that you paid them. Despite them doing something illegal. You pieces of garbage! No, I'm kidding.
No, really good people.
I like Cedric. And I thought I would bring him up because dogs make people happy.
They are,
and
yeah.
everyone seems like they could use a pick-me-up today.
Cedric's a good dog.
Cedric is a good
He's
dog.
a party.
Boy. They're all good boys.
He also bites the hell out of me, and so does Waffles.
Yeah.
Waffles
like
left a mark for like a
still.
week.
My favorite thing about both of our dogs, Jesse, is that inevitably when one of them gets to Steve's house, they take a giant dump on the floor.
Yeah.
That is a thing that
is just
happens.
every single time one of them. It doesn't. We're not sure which one it's going to be, but as soon as they get in the house.
Last time you brought Waffles over, like you said Waffles peed before you said hi. It was like you got in the door, hey, just peed.
She's a little girl still. She's only 7 months old, and when she gets excited, she pees. It's a thing that happens to all of us, and I don't think she should be shamed for it.
Whenever the Leafs score, I go, yeah!
And a little pee comes out.
And a little pee comes out. That's why I don't go to many games. Because I prefer to watch from home. It's easier to change, you see.
So the Leafs signed Ian Scott today to an entry-level contract, and this is
I didn't see that.
Now this isn't.
I love these podcasts where I'm in the car all day and I don't see the friggin' news. That's amazing.
Well, actually, before I get to bring the Ian Scott stuff up, tell everybody why you were in the car all day.
Because I went to the publisher today, ECW Press, to pick up this, and some of you can't see this, but that doesn't matter. This is the ARC. I just learned that term. The advanced reading copy of This Team is Ruining My Life, but I Love Them. How I Became a Professional Hockey Fan.
You better
by
learn
Steve
how to
Dangle.
say that,
outstanding.
Steve.
I certainly should. Yeah, it's not good. So this is the...
You gotta know how to say
How
your
I
own book.
became a I can't wait for your media tour. That's going to be fun.
I had to write the damn thing. I didn't say I could read it.
Can I sign my name in your book?
You go right ahead, Jesse.
That's an advanced copy, man. You can't
You
deface
decided
that.
that you were taking that. You go right ahead.
No, you can have
No,
it.
you can friggin'...
No, I'm not gonna take your advance copy.
So I submitted I proofread it, and it's being proofread again by the person who edited it, Laura Pastore. And there's a proofreader proofreading it. So I submitted my edits. This advanced copy does not have any of those edits in it. So like I changed like a few chapter titles, deleted a few paragraphs, changed a few things. There's a bunch of spelling mistakes and whatnot, like my Twitter. But this book is done, man. It's basically done. It's very close. That's the cover. I've seen the back. This is not the back. I'll show you guys the back after. I want that to be a secret. I don't want to tell anyone until it comes out. But yeah, man, the book's coming out. And someone, a lucky listener, is getting an advance copy because of the cover Photoshop contest. Did you see that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That should have been the cover.
Remember?
A Habs fan.
Really?
A Habs fan won the contest. It's a disgrace.
How perfect is that?
Yet another laughs failure. Can't even win the contest. Yes, Jesse?
Can listeners and fans also get 50% off of your book?
Oh, yes. Well, depending on when you get this podcast up, because it's only until midnight. So if you're listening, stop right now. Pre-order it. You can pre-order it from the ECW Press website. It'll be 50% off until midnight. Yeah.
I love how I'm the one who has to bring up these
Thank
things.
you for bringing
You are
that
the
up.
producer for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some we need you.
Yeah.
Ian Scott.
You know what they say about me? Organized.
The Toronto Marlies have had some pretty rough goaltending this year, and you have to think that they're starting to look for
Friggin' abysmal.
options. Jeff Glass was traded for future considerations, which is ugh.
Yeah.
Cassie
Underrated.
Burke-Swell, I believe, has been injured for part of the season.
Yeah, and then he's come back and has not been very good at all. And Eamon McAdam, who I think was supposed to be their ECHL starter at the beginning of the year, is now the Marlies' backup. Can you bring up the Marlies goalies' stats? Because they're ass.
Jesse, can you do that? I got Ian Scott here.
Yeah.
I've got
They
Ian.
suffered an 8-1 loss the other day, and Scott Wheeler was tweeting it's got to be the worst loss of Sheldon Keefe's tenure as Marlies' coach, who ironically is now the winningest coach in Marlies' history.
That is unbelievable. Now, it's interesting about Ian Scott. He's a 4th-round pick.
Yep.
But even in his draft year with the Prince Albert Raiders, didn't look... And I remember when they made the pick, people were like, he doesn't look overly spectacular. I remember talking about it on the air. He had 12 wins and 31 losses, and people were like, well, his saves percentage is like .895. Keeping in mind it's the WHL, right? Not good. Then last year, it was like, oh, okay, maybe we got something here. 24, 16, and 3, .897 save percentage, played 7 games in the playoffs. This year, though, has been on an absolute tear. His goals against average is .161. He has 23 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie, and a .943 save percentage. Now,
and a goal.
And a goal, too.
He
That's
scored
right, he scored
a
a
goal.
goal. Yeah. Now, keep in mind that when you're an overager in the WHL, your stats tend to explode.
Well, that and he's on a very good team.
Yes. However, he's a part of the very good team. You have to wonder,
course.
if he signed this entry-level deal, are the Marlies able... I know that they're able to, because he's an overager, bring him up. Are they going to bring him up? Or do you look for external options and just let him dominate and then bring him next year?
I think it's worthwhile to look for an external option because, like, dude, I don't know if this guy's going to see a game in a Marlies uniform this year because Prince Albert's doing so well. They're probably going to go on a long playoff run. The Marlies would be lucky to just make it at this point after winning a championship. It's unbelievable. So I think they just signed him to a contract because Dubas has free time now.
Jesse,
He's fidgeting.
what's his what are the Marlies goaltending stats looking like?
He brought that up.
McAdam is 5-2-3 with an .885 save percentage.
Wow.
Not good. Jeff Glass, 10 games. He's 3-4-1. .849 save percentage.
How did he win 3 of those?
Kaskiswell is 2-4-1 with an .857.
Jeepers.
I should throw this out there, too. Ian Scott did play a game with the Toronto Marlies last year,
Yes, he did.
and he won.
Just one. Yay! Well, I mean, everyone won with the Toronto Marlies. Hey,
That's
I'm a goalie who was drafted 7th round. In my draft year, I only played 19 games. I was 8-6-1, had an .890 save percentage. I'm in the NHL right now.
Carey Price.
Frederick Anderson.
Garrett Sparks.
Garrett Sparks.
So, I mean,
Less impressive.
less impressive. I know. But hey, he's in the
Brian
show.
Elliott.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. Mike Smith.
Anyone from the Flyers.
Corey Schneider.
Any Flyers goaltender in the last
Any
20
Flyers
years.
goaltender at all.
Since Van Beesbrook, basically.
Yeah.
Jonas Gustafsson.
Yeah. No, listen, I mean, I think it's cool that they
yeah,
have
it
a
was a
good
guy.
goaltending prospect because when have they had an ever good goaltending prospect? Like, I can't remember
I can
the
think
last
of the time
time.
they had two.
Well, fair enough. But like the
Raskin
last
Bogey.
time the Leafs really drafted and developed a goalie that went anywhere and became anything was Felix Potvin.
No.
Tuukka Rask.
James Reimer. No, well, they didn't develop.
They didn't hang on to
him enough.
Tuukka Rask, man.
Boston.
Yeah,
sort
like
of
a year.
Boston sort of put him over the top, though. We got to give them credit.
Yeah, they did most of the developing. But Reimer, I mean, is having a terrible season for sure. But he put together.
Okay,
he
you know,
played
you're
enough
right.
NHL games and was good enough in most of them.
Okay,
that
so-
you can say he was developed and turned into a good NHL goalie.
Legitimate starter. 1A.
That's a tough one.
Felix.
And
And that's 25 years ago.
kept them for their own. Yeah. Reimer's one where you can have an argument.
You can
but-
have the argument. Yeah,
but
and you know what?
just
He did
because
drag them to the playoffs in
He
2013.
did drag him to the playoffs, but if he could just stay healthy enough for
Yeah,
long enough, which
that's
he
hard.
never was able to. So, man, Felix Potvin, still. Yeah, that's crazy. And they got Joseph Wool, too.
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, that Freddie Anderson is in the middle of his 5-year deal. Starting next year, we're going to
Smack
start
dab.
talking about, well, they've only got 2 years left. And then the year after that, it'll be Freddie Anderson watch. Do they extend
Freddie
him?
watch!
Do they trade him? What are they going to do?
Should they trade him for an offer sheet?
Are they going to lose him? Are they going to lose him to
Alex
Seattle?
Petrangelo, Seattle. My column. The answer, by the way, is Josh Levo. Any questions? Didn't think so. Also, Brendan Leipzig in a third.
That's right. That's right. Listen, I don't think I'd ever say this, but I think this year is a critical year for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's why I'm saying go Buffalo.
What?
I may live to regret this, but I want the Leafs and the Sabres in the first round.
Well, because the other option is Leafs Bruins.
Yeah, well, it
Tampa's
could be-
winning the President's Trophy, so let's.
Yeah, so let's just put it.
There's enough of that.
They've locked that up.
Not even Christmas. They've locked up the President's Trophy, and it's not even outrageous.
I mean, Sid Sixero on Tim and Sid, and I think rightfully with some backing knowledge, did say he's like, I'm not buying what the Buffalo Sabres are selling.
No, and
he
neither of
might-
the numbers.
No, neither of the numbers.
Yeah.
However, I'm still saying go Buffalo, because if the Leafs have to play the Bruins again, not that they haven't been able to beat the Bruins, despite it's so funny. The narrative of the Leafs versus the Bruins is funny because it's that the Leafs can never beat the Bruins. The Leafs in the Matthews era are 11-7 versus Boston. Did you know that?
Is that's with Matthews in the lineup,
That's-
though, is it not?
I don't know, but even so,
I think
like,
it's since he was drafted.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of games where Bergeron was out and Matthews was out.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include 7 playoff games.
which they won 3 of, and had the lead going into the third period. Like, listen, let's not pretend here that
One
was
game.
Boston's series the whole way through. Did they win the first 2 games handily?
No,
Absolutely.
Tampa creamed them in
Absolutely.
the second round, too. Here's the perfect scenario, everybody. You want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
All right. Boston somehow gets the worst wild card and
Ends
has
up
to play Tampa in the first round. Leafs play Buffalo in the first round and win. Boston upsets Tampa, and the Leafs have to play Boston in the second round and beat them too. And then
Ugh, that would make that
Profit.
I'd be an old man. I'd be an old man.
oh, whatever. My back hurts already. I don't give a shit. Win the thing. Win it.
I'll be a few weeks away from having a kid, and that stress. I don't know, man.
I hope they go 7. I hope they go to the Stanley Cup final and go 7. Just
Just maximum chaos.
oh yeah, it'd be great.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can handle it.
I'll come to the hospital
Anyway, I'm just saying
after
this.
the game.
Go Buffalo. Go Buffalo unless it's against the Leafs. That's all I'm saying.
Careful what you wish for. Carter Hutton, Conn Smythe, here it comes. Here it comes.
so-
After we talk shit about him.
Tom Dundon.
Dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
He said some things, and I told Steve to stay away from these quotes because they are so good.
Did I accidentally see it?
I don't know.
I told you what I. Okay,
I don't know.
let's see.
Tom Dundon went into Montreal and told the Habs not to wear their home jerseys. And somehow the Habs acquiesced to that.
They were like, yeah, okay,
Sure. We're going to wear our white jerseys at home because Carolina, the vaunted legendary market that is Carolina, has decided that they only want to wear their red jerseys.
Only want to wear it. Well, and okay, so it's interesting
So
that you're pointing out Tom Dundon in all this, because what I noticed on Twitter was Habs fans who are in the best mood. The best mood, all of them.
Why?
Oh, they've been feeling themselves all season.
Well,
they
they
expected the worst, and are getting a relatively decent team. I mean, geez, at this point,
they'll probably miss. I think they'll miss the playoffs by like 2.
The Habs?
They'll be like that.
not by
To who?
much.
They'll be like 9
who?
because I think Pittsburgh's still got to get in there.
Oh yeah, they're not even in the.
And
They're not
who's-
even in the picture.
And then I don't know. Maybe
Montreal's in the final wild card spot right
Yeah.
now.
Pittsburgh's not in the top 3 in the Metro.
No. Yeah, they're out of there right now. Right now it's Washington, Columbus, Islanders.
Islanders are in a divisional spot.
Yeah, but come on. How many points do the Islanders have?
That's where they are.
32.
How many points does the first wild card team have?
The first one, 38. That's Boston.
Yeah, yeah. So come on,
The Atlantic
Come-
is so
Atlantic.
good.
just
Damn
come
it.
the hell on.
Damn it!
Come
damn
on.
it!
Like you're okay. Good for you, New York. That's great. But come on.
The top 3 teams in the Atlantic would be leading the Metropolitan.
All right.
Buffalo would be leading the Metro right now if they were in the Metro.
All right, I got it.
This is
Okay, no, I got it. I got it. Everyone shut up. I got it. I got it. Watch this. Watch this. All right? Go Pittsburgh. Because we want them to go in the playoffs. Knock out Montreal because it's funny. Knock Boston down to the bottom wild card, forcing them to play Tampa.
Okay.
Then, first round, Leafs get Buffalo. That's fun because you can go to all the games.
But how could Pittsburgh knock them down?
Pittsburgh could sit in the first wild card
How?
if they just got a couple more. What do you mean? How?
How could they sit in the
Points.
first wild card?
All they
guys?
got to do is get a few more points.
Yeah.
No, but they would kick the Islanders out of the
No,
spot.
let's
They
say the
wouldn't-
Islanders also have
Oh,
more points.
Yeah.
Adam discovered it.
The Islanders would have to get to 38 points.
No, for Pittsburgh to sit in a wild card spot, they would have to have more points than the wild card teams, right?
Yeah. But then we're saying in this scenario the Islanders also have more points than the wild card team.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
that's
All
a
right.
likely scenario.
This is what we're
No,
Okay.
okay, working on it.
Okay.
Working on it, all right?
all right.
This is what I'm
Here's
saying.
how it goes, all
All
right?
right, all right.
coming up with
Are you
this.
guys ready for this? Because
This
these
is
two over
Steve's-
here, the
this is
geniuses.
First
Steve's
round.
fantasy.
Genius corner over here.
QEW series, Leafs Sabres.
All right.
Second round, slay that goddamn dragon, the Bruins. Third round, we want the reigning champs. We want the Caps. The Caps. And they beat them. And then Stanley Cup final. Anyone who won it can get it.
Edmonton.
Oh, yeah.
Or Calgary.
Galaxy brain
No,
right here.
that's not as fun.
Edmonton would be way more fun.
And there's something about Edmonton.
Like, literally, like-
yeah, what is it?
There's something there.
In Calgary, it's like Eric Francis and everybody else.
Yeah.
In Edmonton, there you can name like 10 guys who
Yeah.
would just be complete. And Eric's not always obtuse. Everybody in Edmonton is obtuse all the
They
time.
just, all of them jacked forearms.
Yeah.
Crazy traps.
Just Popeye.
Carrying all that water. Just Monday, farmer's walk. Tuesday, farmer's walk. Just 2 pails of water.
Okay, so
So there it is. Oh, the Jets
What would
No. Is
Jim
also an
Matheson
option.
say?
oh, you mean for the Leafs?
in the
Oh,
finals.
Leafs
Steve.
Jets. Jesus, that'd be a tough
Steve,
one.
Adam, can you write Jim Matheson, Leafs, Oilers, Stanley Cup final tweets?
Oh, can I write them?
What would Jim Matheson say?
Man, that or like David Staples too. Or Dustin Nielsen from TSN.
Oh.
Who just, I mean, and
Who might
literally
as well wear a jersey.
his job is, but
Which
he's
is
not
fine,
a
I
journalist
do
though.
too, but
He's
like-
not a journalist though. He's like us. He does a show.
Oh, yeah.
It's pro his team. That makes sense.
Which is totally fine.
I
We
get
talked
that.
last episode about
But
how
don't
homers are fine.
Don't cover yourself in the "I'm a journalist" tag.
Actually, no, I don't know if he does. I don't know.
No,
nothing
he
about him.
doesn't. Dustin doesn't. No. And he does a good job trolling Leaf fans because he always gets them to
We're
react.
talking about him.
Absolutely. I respect it.
Mark Spector. During the
No,
Stanley
let's-
Cup
no, no,
final.
He's not pro Oilers enough.
I know.
Yeah. No, I think we got to go. We got to start with Matheson.
Matheson.
Oh man, you put me on the spot.
Man,
Oh well, it starts. Okay, here it is. The difference in this series is going to be the grit of Milan Lucic. Who on the Leafs will stand up to him? How are they going to move him from the front of the net? They better get a big computer. There it is.
I was going to say something along the lines of, yeah, the Leafs got Tavares this summer, but Edmonton can exploit their defense, and there's nothing Tavares can do about that. Something like that. Because he was the guy that was like, don't the Leafs need Erik Karlsson more than John Tavares? And people were like, well, you know, Jim, you're missing the point where...
Well, Jim, that's not how that works.
That's not a possibility.
Jim tweeted that the Oilers wouldn't trade Nuge when they're going this good and when he's valuable to the team, even though they need a top 6 winger and an offensive D-man. And he got 60 replies.
Why would you trade Nuge? He's a top 6 winger.
Yeah, or a center, or a winger, or he
can play both positions. God forbid McDavid or Draisaitl goes down.
Do you think there's a feeling in Edmonton where they just go, we haven't traded a star in a while? And like they get anxious?
Yeah.
Do we have enough character?
We haven't. And what's amazing is, this could be a perfect transition to...
Well, we haven't gotten to Carolina, but we'll go back to it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we're in Edmonton. Let's do Edmonton.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm Dundon with that conversation.
You will not be Dundon when you hear these quotes.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I get you.
Where was I going with that? The Oilers have been ridiculous recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
unbelievable.
My name is Adam Wilde, and I am not buying what the Oilers are selling.
Your name is Adam Wilde, and you don't have to buy what the Oilers are selling. How about the rest of the Pacific? Because the Pacific Division, how dare you call them the worst division in the NHL? They're all hot! Piping!
Sorry, I'm loosening my belt for this one.
I was confused, but I chose to ignore it.
So for
Your belt melted off because of the piping hot Pacific led by the Calgary Flames.
And what was great is that how upset everybody was at us for suggesting that it may not be. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, it's been so strong all year.
For 2 months of this season, the Pacific has been the worst division we've ever seen in the history of hockey.
They were ass.
And all of a sudden, from December onwards, they've kind of had a hot start. 4 teams have been good. And they're not terrible anymore because 4 teams have gone on a bit of a run. But all of a sudden, we're wrong for saying that they were the worst division in hockey when they were the worst division in hockey for 2 months.
Listen, the thing with a show where we talk about news and stuff, like... You're going to leave some things behind. Yeah. So forgive me if a thing that was true
for 2 months.
For 2 months. Stops being true for a week and I miss it. I've missed bigger news. I didn't hear the Ian Scott signing. Sorry.
Well,
anyway,
here's why I'm not
Adam,
buying.
Is your back okay? Like, what
yeah. I got it. My back's a little sore from hockey last night.
Did you get a tuck?
LA's still terrible. Arizona's still terrible.
Yeah.
San Jose's just been 500 the last 10 games.
They might not make it.
It's been Anaheim, Calgary, Edmonton, Vegas, who have been on fire, and they've boosted the entire Pacific. And that's it. And they've gone back to the mean, really.
Yep.
It's not that they were great. They've just were terrible.
Hey,
and gone back to the mean.
Recognize us as average, like you should.
We have been comparatively not better than most teams, but not worse than them either.
That made me so upset.
Yeah.
No. So this is from @ThompsonCam on Twitter, and he talks about it's Hitch versus McClellan at 5-on-5, and here's why I'm not buying what the Oilers are selling.
Oh, I like it.
Okay. So your
How many games have they
Corsi
played with Hitch? 11?
11, yeah.
8-2-1?
Yeah, they're doing great.
It's
Listen,
real hot.
I will never take the wins and losses away from Edmonton, but I think this is a streak, and here you go. Say Corsi 4 percentage. 49.3 Hitch, 50.2 McClellan.
Oh.
Goals for percentage. 57.1 Hitch, 45.8 McClellan. Shot percentage, 8.3 under Hitch, 6.6 under McClellan. And here's the most important stat.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
Save percentage. 937 under Hitch, 919 under McClellan.
See, that's amazing because 919's not even bad.
No, it's not. It's very good.
It's above average this year, isn't it?
There are other stats in there, but I'm not going to pretend that you or I know what they are, so whatever. You got the FF percentage. You got the
What
SF
is
percentage.
HDCF?
That's a Elliot Friedman percentage.
Yeah.
Much in the name in the way he makes up names.
Turntoe versus Boo.
What are the letters?
The FF percent. I'm sure that's Fenwick.
No, the H
Fenwick.
one.
Huh?
What is the H one?
HDCF. So it's Corsi
It's
4.
that's the
High danger?
That's the
High danger.
Marcus Stroman.
Oh,
Height doesn't
measure heart.
conform
Yeah.
hard.
That's right.
Height doesn't Corsi 4.
Corsi 4, yeah. We call that the Marcus Stroman stat.
And then there's an
Yeah.
SCF, which I can only assume means San Francisco Corsi 4.
It's a very passive aggressive stat.
It definitely likes its own tweets.
Stop being such a narcissist.
Is that your Jeff Blair?
Yes, it is.
Also, did you see that Marcus Stroman liked the tweet about himself being traded to the Reds?
Yeah.
And then it was funny because Tim McCallum's like, why would he like that? They're terrible.
Because oh my god, yo, trade him. I'm so sick.
I'm sort of done.
I'm
with
so bored.
Stroman.
Yeah.
I follow him
Twitter.
on Instagram. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes, and I like Marcus Stroman as a player, and I like his attitude. I feel like I would
his
like
attitude.
him as a person, but there are friends of yours that always are more annoying online than they are in person, and I feel like Marcus Stroman's that guy.
There it is.
You know what I mean?
There it is.
And you're like, okay, man, can you just take it down at 7 or 8 notches here? Just ratchet it down. We get it. You're short.
That's how boring the Oilers are.
Like you're short. Okay. And
that's his thing, though.
And baseball's not
But
a
that's
hype.
his thing.
As Jeff Blair famously wrote,
He's got a
baseball's
Grinch
not a hype
heart,
game.
though.
It's
like
not a
Grinch
hype
at
game.
the end. It's huge.
His thing is pitching is a height game where because you have an advantage. The taller you are at pitching, the more down angle you're coming.
Sure.
That's why the mound when they raised the mound, there was an era in baseball where the mound was flat. And once they raised the mound, then pitching started taking off because pitchers get this advantage. So Marcus Stroman's like, I'm only 5, whatever, and then but I still made it as a pitcher when the average pitcher is like 6'2".
Right, like James Paxton,
Wow.
isn't he like 6'7"?
Oh God, yeah, he's
a big
like
boy.
6'6", yeah.
No, listen,
That's how boring the Oilers are. We immediately went to the Jays.
That's his whole thing about
Yeah.
height doesn't measure heart.
Okay,
but get
but, like-
over it. You're in the majors now.
like Muggsy
you don't
Bogues.
need to prove anything.
Muggsy Bogues was like, I get it, I'm short, but I'm still in the NBA. Can we move on now?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
You've
And it's-
reached it. You've done it.
You've done it,
This
Marcus.
is it. You're here.
I'm watching you renovate your house in Tampa in the offseason, man. You're doing great.
There's 50,000 people in a stadium watching you play baseball.
And they all have
you don't
your
need to prove
jersey.
anything.
Also,
there's
Muggsy
so many
Bogues
Yeah.
should have been the pitcher. That's the most baseball name of all time. He
Muggsy-
played the wrong sport.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Coming up to the mound right now, we have Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah.
Muggsy Bogues warming up for the Blue Jays. Like, come on! No, he couldn't possibly play for the Blue Jays. They're too new of a team. Muggsy Bogues playing for the
Brooklyn Dodgers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old baseball for sure. Anyway, I just feel like, listen, I'm happy for Edmonton. I'm not buying it yet. And if they sustain this over 20 games, then I will stand corrected and I will eat my words.
No, you won't. Because that's still not enough. That's still not enough to me.
I mean, if they make the playoffs, how can you argue it?
For them to sustain it over 20 games, they'd have to win 15 out of 20 games. Which
Yeah.
is just kind of hard to do.
Sure.
The Sabres won 10 straight and then lost, 6?
Yeah.
Something
Well,
like
the
that.
and really, the Sabres could have, they were a goal away from losing 7 of those 10 games. They
Well-
just got lucky in overtime.
And what's funny, though, is
Or
they
skilled, I
had the
guess.
highest of highs, and now they're feeling real low and players-only meeting. You spread those out?
It's 500.
No, it's above it.
Well,
But, yes, I get what you're saying. That's what you are. You're not 10 straight wins, and you're not 5 or 6 straight losses. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm having the same conversation with everybody.
can you just calm down?
Yeah,
Everybody
can
calm
you
down.
just? Can you just? Flames fans were freaking the hell out.
About
No,
what?
they're not.
Oh, about the goaltending. Well,
No, they're not. They're fine.
It is funny. Like they've found their guy, and I have to give Bill Peters credit. He went with the goalie that was performing.
And they can score a few goals, though. That game against Philly. Oh, Philly. How do you, if you're Chuck Fletcher, not make a panic move? You were literally brought in to do that. You know that, right?
To make panic moves.
He was brought in to make panic moves.
100%.
Hextall was fired because he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The team we're all waiting on is Philly.
My
What a
favorite
wild
band,
card.
Panic at the Fletcher.
Yeah, Panic at the Chuck. Pan Chuck at the Fletcher. Two-pack.
T1K.
T1 Dick. Chuck Dick at the disco.
Which is something I'm sure somebody did at one point.
Chuck Dick at the disco.
It's happened.
Podcast title. Chuck Dick at the disco.
After they introduced a mound. so they had
Muggsy
an advantage.
Bogues
Yeah, they had
pitched a
advantage of
5-inning
Chuck
shutout.
and Dick.
Here's Chuck Dick at the disco. Sorry, we're just.
Good.
It's a Friday, and I'll be honest with you, Jesse and I's sleep schedules are very off, so we're, and I think Steve's has been too. So I think we're just a little. Woo.
Chuck Dick pecked.
Dick's
Where were we? What were we even
disco.
talking about? I don't remember.
No, we're talking about Chuck Dick.
We're talking
pecked at
about
the disco.
we're talking about Calgary versus Philly.
And we have to get back to Dundon.
Yeah, we'll get back to Dundon.
Done. There's
Who reminds me a little bit of Bam Bam, I'm not gonna lie. Bam Bam!
I get
Like
it.
he's a little Bam Bam-ish. Anyway, let's go back. Calgary Flyers.
Well, it's just we're waiting on. It's funny. All the good teams are sort of waiting on the crazy. That's how it goes a lot of the time.
Well, who's gonna be the first one to go, fuck it?
Philly.
You think so?
Although
Man,
St. Louis is being awful yappy. And wild card. Maybe this is a good transition back there, Adam. Carolina.
Well, here's the interesting part here, Steve. It's a good thing you brought up Carolina completely out of the blue. We didn't even know we were going there, but here we are. Tom Dundon.
Dundon!
If Tom Dundon were the owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Oh, God.
I might have to leave the city.
You'd call them the Toronto Two Packs. Dick. Chuck. Sorry.
At the disco.
The disco. Do you have a name for your rec league hockey team? Do you guys have your own
We're called
jerseys?
Dick packed!
because we haven't formed an actual club.
Yeah.
They just call you the Indies because you're the independents. They threw like all the people in to the thing, and I think every league has an Indies team where they and then every other team has played together forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by the way, last night I just want to say, 32-minute games we play. There was
My
one,
God, that's so many games!
one sub.
Sorry. 32 minutes.
Yeah, at the disco.
I didn't get that. That was good.
I know!
32-minute
One
games.
32 packs.
one sub for the forwards, one sub for the defense. My average
God.
shifts were 5 minutes long.
So are you...
My groin is on
Am I
fire.
talking to your ghost?
Yeah, that's why I was standing up. I'm really sore.
Wow.
I'm a mess. Second period, I'm like trying to forecheck, and my like the inside of my leg just seized right up. I was like, this is wow.
Jesus,
Yeah,
dude.
and I hadn't played hockey in like 10 years, right? So I'm still you're getting your legs back.
Anyways, I only
Tom
asked that
Dundon.
question because you kept saying Ritu Pack. And I'd like one day if we had a rec league team, we were all on, we'd call them like the Ritu Pecks or something.
The Ritu
The Ritu Pecks.
No.
Or if we at least had t-shirts.
Call
that
them
said
respect.
Ritu Pecks.
The Ritu packs.
The
Ritu Pecks.
Anyways.
There's a few names we could use from this show to make a good hockey
yeah.
team name.
The Dick Ritu packs.
You can play C League stuff at Moss Park just like I do.
Clap
and by the
shit
way,
bombs.
shout out to what's his name? There is a
never
I know.
getting to
Listen,
Dundon.
we're never
No.
getting to Tom Dundon. But I meant to shout him out on the last show.
Isn't this being a Carolina Hurricanes fan though?
Yeah.
Just constant purgatory. This is the time we get a goalie. This is the time we actually get a goal.
I want to shout out Marcel Shepard on Twitter, who he said, "Hey Adam, big fan of the podcast. Is it possible we both just played at Moss Park? I was the goalie." And this was last week, and I'm like, yeah, dude, did you just shut us out? And he's like, yeah, that was me. Sorry about the blowout, and I hope your teammate's all right. And that's our buddy Alex who popped his shoulder out. So
Oh, he popped his shoulder?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
podcast
Yeah.
listeners, shut out your team.
Yeah, shut us out. And actually, I play. I think I said this, but there's a few people I've run into at that league that like are listeners,
hey.
and yeah, it's kind of cool.
I could elbow you in the neck. you could say that Marcel shepherded in a victory for his team.
Oh wow! And Ken Campbell is also on one of the opposing teams as well.
You're kidding.
No way.
Yeah, did I not say this on the show?
No.
Okay.
Esteemed hockey writer.
Yeah, so Ken actually was like, we're lining up to face off in like the second period,
And
I
he
just
said,
hear
here's 1,000 words.
I just hear wild. I look up and he's like, it's Ken Campbell. I'm like, Ken, oh my God. And like the refs are looking at us like, can we drop the puck now? Anyway.
I have the perfect team name for his team.
What is it?
The team is nigh.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
He should.
Holy shit, I'm clever.
I hope Ken listens to that. Anyway,
The
shout out
hockey's really
Marcel
good
and his really good hockey team.
Thanks for that.
All right, Tom Dundon. And this is, by the way, these quotes come from, Carolyn Christians at HMO of T2 or whatever on Twitter. Basically took these from an article. But
Okay.
talking about Tom Dundon, and this is what I love this.
I want to talk about Elias Pettersson.
I love when people, the
Got
attitude
anything on the
where
Rangers there, Jesse?
the attitude in sports where it's like I hate losing more than I like winning. Tom Dundon hates losing. By the way,
Hates losing.
this is the first of 5 quotes for Tom Dundon, by the way. Here's the first
yeah.
one. If I sell, it's going to be because we're losing and I can't take it. This is a guy who's owned the team for about a year.
5 minutes.
Yeah. If I ever sell the team, it won't be financially motivated. It will be 100% because I literally can't take it anymore. I've never lost like this before. And they're not even a bad team.
No. They're really, really not.
So,
Yeah.
let's-
Wild card.
let's continue. Maximum
love it.
chaos.
Well, that was only one?
That's
Oh,
just one.
are you starting to-
that's one of 5.
Oh,
I got
Adam,
more, man.
Bringing the heat.
On the Hurricanes' performance, the results are worse than we probably would have expected. So, yeah, it's not very good. He says, Canes general manager Don Waddell told me to be positive, but I can't when I lose. I can't. Can't be positive when I lose. This is, in life, and Tom knows this, and I think this is just bravado, but in life that you're going to lose more than you win. The point about you lose a lot and then you start winning, right? That's the thing. You're bad and then you're good.
Fair
You're
enough.
bad, you have to lose to win.
Yeah, no, I guess
you don't get comfortable with losing. You don't like losing, but you do have to lose to win. Tom,
why should
welcome to your first year in the NHL, Tom. Anyway, he says the team is good enough to win, which I would agree it is. He said, but we're not good enough to be great yet. We can win because the difference is so small, but we're not as good as what I think we can be. But if you try to do it fast, you'll be bad, and I want to be good for a long time. He says the Hurricanes will focus on offense and skill. Defense can be bought, he says.
What?
Yep. He says the Hurricanes, I'm going to repeat that. This is where it starts to get important. He says the Hurricanes will focus on offense and skill. Defense can be bought, he says. We won't be drafting...
this guy's new here.
This is key.
This
This is key.
Yeah.
We won't be drafting defense in the first round as long as I'm here. He adds, noting the Hurricanes are now in the market for a sniper.
Bruh.
I don't know, man. Jeff Skinner would have been that guy.
Yeah.
He said, I've got to have more offense. I want to lose. I want to lose 5-4, not 2-1. If we lose 5-4, at least I'll have fun.
That's not the point.
Hey, Tom, since you're new here, no, you won't! Not how it works. Hey, let me tell you something. The worst loss I've ever seen was 5-4 there, Tom. I did not have fun. I did not. I don't look back on it fondly, Tom. You pay Don Waddell money to be an adult because you can't be trusted. That's how an owner works. Get out of his frickin' way. Was that 2 of 5?
That was 2 of 5.
Can't wait. Here, actually, should we maybe take an intermission?
Never drafting a defenseman in the first round
as long
again.
as I'm here.
You know what I do?
No Eric Carlsons. Certainly no Noah Hannafins.
No bullshit Brent Burns.
No Dougie Hamilton. We want to...
Yeah,
We
trade
want to
him.
draft a sniper and then trade him to get Dougie Hamilton because they can be bought. That's how it goes.
Why did he say these things?
Because he's an owner and they're nuts.
Yeah, like I think there is a specific type of person, and I think if you've read enough books about great men and women, you know that they're a little crazy, right? Like Steve Jobs, we all accept, was probably a pretty tough guy to deal with day to day. Basically ignored the fact that he had a daughter, but he made the iPhone, so we all love him.
Yeah.
Bill
Gates is like the most boring one.
Yeah, for sure. He's the most like not abnormal dude. He's just super normal.
That's why Windows products suck.
Open source bullshit. Am I right?
Windows 8.
I'm gonna like help people. Whatever, Bill. Bored. Give me an Xbox.
Give me an Xbox.
No, I love. Sorry, by the way, that was me doing an impression of someone.
No, Xbox is great.
I like Bill Gates' philanthropic endeavors.
Yeah, we know.
I
We know.
figured
Steve,
that.
if
would
anybody
need
doesn't know,
clarification.
if anybody doesn't
Do you
know,
like charity? I'm on the fence about it.
I
If
do.
you- if
You're on the
Steve
fence
Dangle-
about
If
charity.
Steve Dangle likes
I'm not
charity.
sold on this whole charity thing.
who is it really helping?
Hey, before we get to
Can't these people pull themselves up?
by their bootstraps,
Or as I love from one of my favorite books, Charles Dickens, well, if they're gonna die, they better do it to decrease the surplus population. Did you know that that was an actual quote? So I guess he was writing the book, and somebody in
Never
this is
gonna
like
get
Victorian
through these
England.
Wait, which book by Dickens?
Christmas Carol,
Oh, okay.
and he
You did
said
not, you said
Other
it.
new prisons.
some, he
You
was
did not
talking to
specify
somebody.
which book.
Other new workhouses.
He was talking, other no workhouses.
Sorry.
Many would rather die than go there.
For some reason, it is like my dad's favorite movie to quote. I don't know why.
It's a great movie.
Sorry.
But he said that I guess somebody basically said that exact thing to him in real life. I guess that's how harsh they were about the poor back then.
Jesus.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Anyway,
And he wrote this in 1982. This is
1982?
no, I know. I made
Okay.
that up. Sorry,
On
no,
the
here, wait,
team's
before you get to the other three Dundon things, I want to get to something that an assistant GM did in Carolina. Trust me, it's worth it.
Okay.
This is from Jason Rogers, who writes about the Caps. Never forget, the Florida Panthers tried to draft Alex Ovechkin at the NHL draft 4 different times the year before he was eligible.
Oh, no.
So this is former Leafs assistant GM, actually, Rick Dudley, who I believe is the assistant in Carolina right now. So this is from Jason Rogers. He posted the screen cap on Twitter the other day. It's June 21st, 2003, the first day of summer, and Alexander Ovechkin is exactly 17 years old, 9 months and 3 days old. Sorry, 17 years, 9 months and 3 days old. That makes him officially 2 days too young to be eligible for the 2003 NHL entry draft in Nashville, Tennessee. But that doesn't stop Florida Panthers GM Rick Dudley from trying to draft Ovechkin 4 different times in 4 different rounds. The thing is, Dudley's not that crazy. Any GM in the league would take Ovechkin if they could. Dudley is just the only one creative enough to try. He argues that if leap days were taken out of the equation, Ovechkin would be old enough and therefore be eligible. He offers no real justification for this legal tactic other than an implicit disdain for the asymmetrical institution of leap days. The 4th time the NHL refuses his logic and his draft pick, he requests a formal rejection from the league in writing. He receives one and scurries off with it like a prospector's claim to the motherlode scrawled on a poker card. So basically,
That is very funny.
this guy went, all right, the Florida Panthers select Alexander Ovechkin. No, you can't do that. All right, fair enough. Well, we take this guy. All right, good. We'll write that up. Next round. All right, the Florida Panthers select Alexander Ovechkin. And he did that 4 times. I love him.
Yo, I
Because
respect
he
that.
believes that leap year, if leap years were non-existent,
I don't believe in him.
Well, like,
Don't believe it.
that
think-
still doesn't make him a year older.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't change
But
his
he doesn't
birthday.
believe in him.
Even if you
also,
eliminated.
why is it so goddamn cold this July? It's snowing. Makes no sense.
If you eliminated leap year days, it still he doesn't.
The ones
his
every
birthday.
We took away 1 day every 4 years. It doesn't make Ovechkin
It's
a
still the
year
line.
older.
It's still the line. The line is the line.
Like
366 or 365. The line is the
doesn't
line.
matter.
Rick Dudley is
That's
like
really funny.
an 18-year-old Ontario kid who has his 19th birthday on a Monday, but he wants to go out with his friends on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Were it not for the leap years, I'd be able to get in tonight. Let me into your establishment.
Like, no, it's the date today. You
Rick
can't
Dudley
change
scratched
the
an
date.
8 into a 3 like I did. That was the handy thing about having a driver's license without a hologram and a year that ended with 8. You could scratch it into a 3.
Yeah, everybody in our year had 1983
Oh,
driver's
yeah.
license
Yeah.
G1s.
Oh,
Man.
Because we were
wow.
88 kids, right? So you could scratch it
You all
into a
look
3.
really young.
Yeah. It's like, we're all like, so you're 23. Yes. I'm at 16 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's-
2008 kids. Here's your trick.
Yeah, seriously.
gotta go
2008 kids.
2003 now.
Man, so we were in Montreal. This is a very aside, and then we'll get to the final 3 Tom Dundon things.
That's okay.
We were in Montreal for New Year's when we were 17, and drinking age in Montreal is 18. So we 3 of us did not have the foresight to get fake IDs. We're like, okay, if we just are convincing enough and just hand them our license and then take it back and walk in, it might work. Let's try it. We got nothing else. So, and the guy just goes, no. And so we're like, shit, okay. So we went back to the hotel, busted open my friend's razor, and scratched all our 8s into 3s. Here's the problem. I was tall. I could pull it off. My friend was tall. He could pull it off. Our other friend was like 5'6" and was 17 but looked 13. And so we're like, all right, when we line up, you go in the middle. So my first friend goes in, and it works.
Oh, wow.
Second friend goes in, and the bouncer looks at it very skeptically, and then looks up at me and immediately recognizes me.
Oh, from before.
Yeah. And because it's Montreal, he just goes, you guys are fucking lucky. And he lets us in.
Hey! Montreal is such a magical place.
Is that story in this thing?
No.
There you go.
Well,
that's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
No, there are better ones. Oh, yes.
On Tom Dundon, on Carolina's future in Carolina, really the future in Raleigh. Dundon acknowledges the hockey team is entering a critical stage of negotiations with the Centennial Authority, the governing body of the PNC Arena, over a long-term lease deal. The current lease expires in 2024. So they're doing this like 6 years out.
Good.
He said,
good to be prepared.
I love his logic here. This guy's wild. He said, my son's going to go to the University of Carolina, so I'm hoping to get to be here with him when he does. So the plan is to figure out a way to get the arena redone.
Yo, imagine being that rich.
Hold on. So not only is his son several years away from university, they've already decided which one. So he's probably 2 or 3 years away. He wants to get the arena redone while his son's in university 6 years from now.
When I have time, you know?
And this is my bet. His logic for getting the arena done is that his son will be in North Carolina at the university.
Now,
Tar Heels what?
If you're like a divisional rival, you should convince the local university to give him a scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
If the son doesn't go there, then the Hurricanes are moving.
He says
the University of Hartford. Is there one?
He says that the renovation is likely to cost $200 million. He said there's a different standard now that the NHL wants, that fans obviously want. The focus is, how do we work with the Centennial Authority and the state and figure out how we end up in a situation where the team can have success. Dundon says that leaving Raleigh isn't an option. I've never talked to any other markets about what's going out, about what's out there, but we have a challenge, which is we're not downtown, and there's not a list of successful non-downtown arenas, which he's right about.
Maybe the NHL's problem is a lot of arenas were just built in random open lots in the suburbs.
Yeah. He said,
by the way, there is a University of Hartford. Thank you very much.
If there's a possibility of a stadium downtown, quote, he's in, he adds. He said, I'd be happy to put up the money to put up an environment and create a community, but here it is tough. Motioning to the location of the current arena. When asked if he'd step up to finance a new arena with his personal coffers, he said, I'd probably do the development around the arena. He said, I don't want to own an arena in Raleigh, and this is important. He said, that's a lot worse deal than owning a hockey team. And that, if you remember back when Richard Petty was on our show the first time, he talked about the then Skydome, now Rogers Center. And he says that building has never made money. He said it in its first 4 years, it broke even, but it never made money. And that's why when Interbrew sold it to Rogers now, they sold it for like pennies on the dollar, because it's a great real estate purchase in downtown Toronto, but the value isn't in your year-to-year profits. The value's in your 20-year equity gains. And so what Dundon's talking about here is he's saying, if I have to build this arena on my own, I'm going to lose money 100%. He's like, I'm already losing money on the hockey team, and I'm okay with that. And he goes on to talk about that, but he doesn't want to lose money on the arena, and he does want to build condos around the new arena. He said,
isn't it better that the owner just like says that?
Well, here's what he says. He says he sees the arena as more of a public effort as government entities can benefit from the tax revenues it could bring. He said, I'm pretty rational with my capital except for my hockey team. Capital is not my issue. I just don't want to burn it. He said if investments don't step up for an improved arena, he says he hasn't thought about what happens next. He said, quote, you have to have an NHL quality arena to have an NHL quality team. I subsidize the team right now, and I'm okay with it, meaning he's burning money on this team. He's losing money on this team. He said, and I'm okay with it. It's just how much and for how long. And I bet Eugene Melnyk was cool with it too for the first 10 years. But how much for how long?
Interesting.
And when you say stuff like that, and I respect the fact that he's saying it, because when do we ever get anybody being honest about anything?
It's the most sane thing he said so far.
But when you buy a team that's not a major market team, that is your challenge. And the NHL may have another situation here, eventually, where they get another owner who's like, I'm burning money on this team, and I can't wait. Andrew Barroway in Phoenix Star. Andrew Barroway in Arizona is facing the same thing. Where, from what I've heard, there's going to be a change in ownership in Arizona again by the end of next year. So, these guys come in and they've got a lot of money, but it burns a hole in your pocket awfully quick when you're burning $20-30 million just on your hockey team. Forget your lifestyle, right? So I thought
university.
He said Dundon says he's losing about $10 million on the team, and he said that's about his limit. He envisions losing 15, maybe 20 million this year, but he wants to get it down to 10 million. But he says he's not in it for the money. He's like, poor was fine for me. Ramen noodles and Taco Bell, I loved it. I was happy then and I'm happy now. I don't see a scenario where I'm trying to make money off this city. It's the exact opposite. I'm trying to figure out how much I will subsidize. When is it irresponsible to be here? And the Hurricanes aren't Dundon's only investment with Raleigh overlap. Dundon's other endeavors include a golf retailer, Topgolf, which he says is already eyeing another location in the Triangle. I guess that's a place in, I don't know what the Triangle is.
This
and
is
he
like
says
an
he's
underratedly big thing.
This is huge. And he says he's interested in helping the effort to bring Major League Soccer to Raleigh, which I think would be great. He says he's been in talks with the MLS about investing his own cash, and they keep trying to get him to invest in other markets, something he's ruled out. He says MLS watches what happens with. He says the MLS will watch what happens with the Hurricanes and make its own decisions. Quote, we try to make the point, don't blame soccer for our failures, he says. I think it's possible, but I don't think we're next on their list from what I understand. So, I mean, I don't think what he's saying is unfair here, but... And I don't know the situation in North Carolina, like with their city taxes and that sort of thing. There is no question that a city benefits from great arena spaces.
In the whole Calgary discussion, for example, I don't think it's unreasonable that the city pay for some of it.
Yep.
All of it, I think, is absurd. Some of it, I get it. Mm-hmm. You get something out of it. You should pay for something that you get something out of, and that goes for ownership as well.
So hearing these quotes, the beginning was hilarious because, we're going to draft a sniper and we're going to do it. I bet Don Waddell talks him off that cliff a little bit. There's still lots of time before the draft. I'm sure they'll
let your GM do their damn job.
Right. But what I found interesting about this article, so often when we hear owners talk, there's never a reason.
It's always wrong.
It's wrong.
It's always calamity.
And it's never a reason. This seemed like the reason. The last three quotes that I just read to you about the arena.
Everything else was fat.
That is him.
Yeah.
In the public eye, laying down, this is what it is, guys.
Yeah, by the way.
I'm invested in this community. My son's going to university here. I would like to do this and do a downtown condo complex or whatever, but we're going to have to figure something out here.
Yikes.
So it's interesting.
I mean, at least he's being honest.
I respect the honesty.
Right. Hey.
I'm not crazy about public funding for private arenas, but if he doesn't want to own it, if it belongs to the city, then it's a civic building and it makes sense. Hey. And he would have to lease it from the city.
And he doesn't like losing as much money as he's losing. So let me throw this out there. Draft a defenseman in the first round. It might be good for your team on occasion. Not that Carolina needs it.
No, they're pretty good on defense.
At the moment, they're pretty good. They
pretty darn good.
I'm surprised they didn't... Okay, see all the things you just said about the Hurricanes and Raleigh and how important they were? Here's where I'm going to take it. Why didn't Carolina try to get Josh Levo?
It's a good question, actually.
They should have. Well, and one thing that I think could have made some sense is because they just lost that Zykov guy.
Yep.
Forget his first name. Couldn't they have done some sort of Zykov for Levo swap? That would have been. They would have had to find a way to, because they had too many guys. That was the issue. Levo is going to score 25 goals this season with Elias Pettersson. Just saying. Just saying.
It's interesting. Very
Get Sam Gagne.
interesting. Jesse, you had a video you wanted to play? Do you want me to? Do you want to send it over to me?
I sent it over to you.
Email? Email?
Facebook.
Can you email it?
I can.
Please email it.
If you give me a moment.
Okay.
It will take a second.
Did you see Dan Carcillo calling out Brian Burke today?
No.
Okay, I'm going to play that first. So Dan Carcillo tweeted about this, and he called Brian Burke, just for the record, a fucking dinosaur. That's Dan Carcillo's words, not mine.
Okay.
Here's what Brian said, and it's interesting because Dan's clearly got music on in the background as he's recording this clip on Sportsnet. So forgive me because it's a bit muddled, but you can hear Brian in it.
Wait. So he just recorded it.
Right off the TV.
I see.
So here's what he says. He calls him a fucking dinosaur, and he says, Brian Burke whining about going
Fucking
through a
dinosaur
full
emoji.
hockey game without seeing any violent contact at all. This is the kind of rhetoric. This kind of rhetoric is coming from a man who played a total of 72 games at the AHL level. I can't find any history that he has ever been in a hockey fight. So here's what Berkey had to say.
Like a dinosaur. But the fact is, we get some games now that are the equivalent of flag football, where there's virtually no hitting, fighting is almost gone, and you go through a whole game without any violent contact at all. That's not what we have historically sold. So I like the increase in skill. I like the increase in speed. But I don't want to get away from the roots of our game and the backbone of our game, which includes physical contact. There are too many games that I see this year that I don't enjoy at all because it's flag football.
Keep going. Keep going.
I get where Carcillo was going with it. I just really disagree with what Burke said because, like, was this recent? Did he say that this week?
Yeah.
What a week to say that in. This has been the most violent week in years in the NHL. It was like a week straight of fights. There's been fights in almost every game and big hits in almost every game. Ovechkin almost turned Thomas Nosek into a pancake, and Lucic flattened someone and then answered the bell. What a week to say that in. I don't understand. I wouldn't take it to the places that Carcillo did. I just fundamentally disagree with what Burke said. Like, taking hockey back to the roots. Let's get back to clapping shit bombs there, Berkey. Vulcanized rubber? Bullshits. You got a horse? Anyone got a horse?
Freeze their poo. Let's
Freeze
go.
it.
Road apples.
And while we're at it, freezers. I don't like these technological advancements. In order to get these pucks, we're going to have to do what they did in the olden days and wait. It's not cold enough yet. It's going to be sloppy shit bombs.
I know that they
don't
brought
get
in. I know they brought in Burke because Burke's an opinionated guy. He's just naturally a good broadcaster.
And has a wealth of experience and has just done so much at the managerial level in the NHL. It's impossible to say, man, I know a lot of people don't dig Burke, and I disagree with him on a lot of things. Some of his stories,
They're phenomenal.
they're real good.
Well, and
Real
that's where I
good.
think he shines, is telling his stories. I find his opinions to be, as Carcillo said, I find his opinions to be dated. And I got to tell you, watching Tampa last night play the Leafs, there was not one fight.
That was
And
a violent game.
it was a violent game, but it was also one of the most enjoyable hockey games I've watched in a long time, and my team lost. I absolutely loved that game, except for the last 30 seconds of the second period.
Yeah, honestly, the first 39 and a half minutes of the game.
Phenomenal.
Were
Phenomenal.
some of the best hockey of the season.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't get this. Like, how can you watch that as a hockey person
and not enjoy it.
it? There's nothing in that. Like, I remember watching New Jersey Devils Toronto Maple Leaf series where there was one game where Toronto got 6 shots in a game in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And that is because they were playing the trap and they had the red zone thing the red line thing and everything. You know, it was just terrible.
What a
terrible.
dumb rule.
You couldn't
boring.
pass a puck.
Yeah,
across
exactly.
Dumb rule.
Across 2 lines.
Across
What
two
the hell
lines
is
of the
that?
ice, yeah.
And what a boring, awful way to play hockey. And that's these guys' golden age. The late, like the 90s and the early 2000s, when it was, the scoring was down, the pads were big, the concussions were enormous. Just terrible injuries. Yeah. And I just look at it and I think, the game is the best it's been since the 80s in terms of entertainment value. There's no question in my mind, since the late 80s.
The 80s when there were fights.
Well.
And also the greatest scorer in history. But
Scorers in history.
Yeah.
I just think, all these things are so positive. And the thing that you complain about is there isn't enough violence for you?
Yeah.
Really? The violence isn't hockey. The actual physical game is hitting. And I get that. That's part of the game. Carrying a puck, passing a puck, shooting a puck, scoring a puck, saving a puck. That is the actual game. The game has never been better. Never.
The decades that preceded the one we're in, less so the early 2000s, less so the 90s. The 80s and 70s and 60s, a lot of people look back on them fondly.
And that might be when you grew up watching.
And yeah, of course, you're going to be nostalgic for stuff you grew up watching. Right now, I'm listening to the audiobook of Hockey Card Stories with Ken Reed. Fantastic, by the way. It's like $10. Buy it. And the stories are great. One thing you can definitively say is hockey players back then were better storytellers.
Yeah.
They were funnier people, I think.
I don't think that they're not now. I just don't think they're allowed to be now.
That's probably fair. And these guys also have hindsight. I'm sure they were boring interviews as players. But the stuff they look back on fondly.
What is it?
It's absurd.
Well, it's just the drinking and the.
There's a guy who scored a hat trick who got 3 of his fingers almost severed off mid-game. A teammate of his stepped on his hand, went and got them stitched back on. He still had function, and he scored a hat trick.
When you hear a player from the 80s talk about the 80s, it's never, that guy made a great save, or, I remember that stick handle. It's always, I played with a broken leg and I scored a goal.
A broken fit. There was one I just
And I was drunk.
And I was drunk.
Yeah.
And then I went out and got more drunk.
Yeah.
And, and the coach benched me for not being drunk enough.
Somebody actually tweeted the other day, they said something along the lines of, I've never heard of a professional team partying all night and then being able to win games. And someone was like, have you never heard of the 80s Oilers?
What?
I was like, what the heck are they talking about?
What?
Yeah, just, hot takes.
Yeah, Michael Jordan had the flu, guys.
Yeah, right? Come on.
Wasn't all night gambling.
No, and he definitely left the NBA because he definitely wanted to play baseball.
Yeah.
At Double A.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
That is the best. That's one of the best 30 for 30s there is, by the way.
Yeah, he sure. No, I believe him. I for sure believe
matter
that
what,
he wanted to go and play baseball in the White Sox system.
Yeah. Listen, I don't care if you're not a basketball or a baseball fan at all. You have to watch the 30 for 30
you do.
Of Michael Jordan leaving to baseball after you read Ken's book. But yeah, no, it was. I mean, there's no way of saying this without people going, "Oh, you're soft." It was utter barbarism. It was just. There was a great one. I started watching a clip today. It was a playoff game between the Habs and Flyers. One of the teams shot the puck into the other team's net during warm-up. There was a line brawl. It's just assault. You're just...
Yeah.
And it's what I was saying with the Sanford Bertuzzo thing. You're not... It's not the game. You're not playing. You're just fighting.
Yeah.
You might as well be in the concourse.
And that's the thing is I mean,
imagine 12 people just started fighting in the concourse. And then you're like, all right, hey.
That's the WWE.
Go to your seats.
That's the WWE.
Yeah.
This week, someone showed me a tweet of St. Louis. They brought that puppy onto.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cute.
Into their practice, and someone wrote it to me. It's like, is Bertuzzo gonna beat the puppy?
I know. Hey, here's a clip. Here's a clip so that we all forget about the fact that one of our players beat the shit out of another one of our players.
And everyone's like, so. Did the puppy get a face smashed in?
Yeah, puppy was scratched the next game.
And I had someone message me like, I heard Zach Sanford's a dick. And I'm like, I don't think that matters, actually.
I heard Zach... I mean, okay, fine, you heard that, but, you can't verify that.
Yeah. Anyway, Sorry, we're getting away from what he was saying. Watch some of the stuff from back in the day. It was utterly ridiculous. It was utterly
well,
so
and beyond that, okay,
what does he want
it's
to
a
get back
different
to, the
mentality
90s?
now. It's a different, as I said before, the guys that were playing in the 70s were the children of the war veterans from World War II. Their view on violence was different. We didn't have the scientific evidence that we do now about CTE and the effects that it has, not just on the player, but on their family. Like, where's Joe Murphy right now? Right?
That's a terrible.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Too. Yeah.
So that and listen, I don't think Burke's advocating for that. I understand where Brian Burke's coming from. My thing is this. If you really like the game has never been better. The game itself has never been better. It has never been played at a higher level. It's never been played faster. Not the 60s, not the 70s, not the 80s. If you watch an 80s hockey game now, you're like, wow, they're so slow.
Oh, I love it.
They're so slow.
There's a bar in Whitby that always plays retro games. It's not the same sport.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not the
Kings
same.
today-
Hockey will be great when they finish it. Like you said, right?
Yeah. The Kings today, who are the worst team in the NHL right now, could whoop the 80s Oilers.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hot
Interesting.
take. It's not even a hot take.
I don't think that's a
just
hot
fact.
take. I think they'd shut them down.
Yeah.
For sure. Especially with the way they played defense, and you'd be able to trap them. You'd be able to throw the neutral zone trap at them, like for real.
There was another one in Ken's book where like this guy wasn't a good skater and he had these new type of skates that like you could fall out of the boot, like the boot.
Jesus.
Like, yeah. Again, like, dude, there's advancements in this, but they don't have leather skates. Should we get back to those roots when they wore oven mitts? Like what? Maurice Richard beating people over the head with his stick. Wooden sticks. That's getting back to the roots of the game.
Have you seen the skate blades that they just pop out now and they put on?
Yeah.
Mid-shift.
Mid-shift.
You go to a bench, pop out your skate blade, put it
You
back
can have
in.
you can have a sharpened blade every shift.
Every single shift. It's insane.
And, you know, back in my day, blades didn't pop off. Well, back in your day, they were slow.
My dad
Back
said
in your day, they were not as fast as Connor McDavid and Dylan Larkin and Kasperi Kapanen and, you know, Mitch Marner. They weren't them. Not even close. They'd lose a race every time unless one of them fell, which they won't. Yes.
My dad grew up playing in Montreal, and he was never a big hockey fan, but everybody played hockey in Montreal, so he did. All the arenas were outside. If you played house league, it was outside, everything.
That's
So
crazy.
Brian Burke's against indoor arena. I hate all these roofs on these arenas. And he said, my dad said that guys used to take their skates out of their bag, and the boot of the skate would flop to the side.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were just leather.
Like an
there was
Ugg
no
boot.
protection. It's just leather.
That's
Just,
another...
just a leather shoe attached to a kitchen knife. That's it.
Another thing from Ken's book, and I'm not giving away the whole book. There's so many stories I could never...
You're promoting the shit out of it. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no, buy it, dude. It's $10, and it's over 6 hours to listen to. It's great. He did Kelly Rudy's card, and Kelly
Oh, that'd be
Rudy
cool.
talked about something that I'd never heard of, because I think it was from the 1987 season, and I wasn't born yet. But there was a thing that spread around the NHL, widespread. So many players had it, called the gunk. They called it the gunk, and it was basically just a rash that you got from your equipment. Like, should we go back to that as well? Like, things evolve is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Let's go back to feathers in the pad. Let's go. Feathers are the padding for your goalie knee pads.
To everyone
Let's go back
who's
to
not
that.
into the current NHL, no one's making you watch.
And yet you're still watching.
And yet you're
And you're still
watching.
collecting a paycheck.
How come you're still watching it? Oh, because you enjoy it? What about it do you enjoy? Let's focus on that.
Well, complaining about the not fighting. I really
Yeah.
enjoy that. People enjoy complaining. Let's be honest. If people didn't
course.
enjoy complaining, they wouldn't do it.
Flag football. I mean, okay. You know what? Okay. So one thing that gives me like a bit of a, it's difficult to go. I have difficulty with it.
Okay.
The new slashing rules, where you can't even. There was a call in last night's game, and I can't remember who it was, but I think it was a Leaf basically just tapping the Lightning player on the glove. No pain at all. It's not about pain. It's what have I always said about interference calls? You can get away with a lot, but if it affects possession, you're going to get called. If the guy's got the puck in his stick, and you use your stick to tap his hand,
You will get a call. Likely.
And that's the new rule. And I look at that and I go, oh my God, that is baby shit soft. Like, how is that? That's a slash and call in hockey? Are you kidding? And then I'm like, well, why should it be allowed? Hockey's such a
Well, and what it got
sport.
rid of was the clutching and the grabbing, which was slowing down the game. Where you had a bunch of heavy, big
and why
guys.
should that be allowed?
And it shouldn't be. That's why they had to make it soft. Because it got rid of the guys literally tow truck driving down the fucking ice.
It was okay. You know what we need to get back to? What getting back to the root of the sport would be? Widespread, uncontrollable cheating. That's what it is. Oh, the clutch and grab era.
Players police themselves.
The whole time, interference was a penalty, holding was a penalty, hooking was a penalty. And you were just allowed to do them until arbitrarily, at some point, the ref would blow the whistle dead. And players would get indignant every time because they'd say, but you let me do it for the first half of the game.
Yeah, but I warned you at least 7 times, Bob Probert.
Yeah, and then in the playoffs, refs had the best seat in the building. They didn't do anything.
It's true. That's true.
Getting back to the root of sport would just be allowing widespread rule breaking. You think it's bad now? Oh, that still happens today. Oh, you bet. Happens in basketball, happens in baseball. Like it's if you're not cheating, you're not trying. All that shit. You should have seen, dude. Watch. I challenge someone. I don't know how you would just randomly have a game from 1993 on VHS, but if you have a full game from the early 90s, I challenge you to watch it and find a single shift where you couldn't have called a penalty. You can't do it.
What, in today's game? Yeah.
In today's game, you can't do it. You couldn't find a single shift that didn't have a penalty by their standards.
Yep.
Holding was never legal.
Yep. And by the way, for anybody who likes a player like Mitch Marner would never have made it.
Would never have made it. I loved, and it's the only instance I've seen of this when I don't remember who the alumni was, but do you remember the Twitter exchange where some alumni went at Brendan Gallagher?
No.
They went at him?
They were chirping at him on Twitter.
For fun, or was it?
No, they were beaking.
NHL alumni.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but he basically said, you'd never make it back when I played. And Gallagher just goes, you'd have been cut in training camp if you played today.
Wow, that's cool.
And he's right.
Good for him. He's right.
Well, first of all, Brendan Gallagher does not suffer fools. He does not take your shit.
And he's a good player.
He's a good player.
Really good.
Yeah, and also, yes, Brendan Gallagher would have survived back then. Because
Yeah,
Brendan Gallagher
'cause he's
is
an
short
SOB.
by today's standards. Back then, he would have been average height.
True.
So let's get that out of the way.
Brendan Gallagher caught up in Twitter fight with Jim Kite.
Jim Kite.
Who?
No, is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's the former player. Brendan Gallagher, Brad Marchand, and players of their ilk. The reason I don't watch many AHL games anymore. No honor, no accountability.
Man, like
Okay,
as
Jim.
a Leafs fan, there's no comparison.
And
there.
then
they're
Gallagher,
not the same player.
Gallagher sent back a video of Kite sucker punching someone in the 80s.
So Brendan Gallagher would agree with us.
And he's like, please, Mr. Kite, do us more and tell about all the honor you played the game with. And then he links to that YouTube video.
And it's just him sucker punching a guy.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I looked at Braden Coburn last night in the Leafs game, who gave guys a few shoves
Yep.
after the whistle, and I was like, what a jerk. He would have been the softest player in the 80s. Damn right. Well, no, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the 80s that you were just allowed to. Every playoff game took 9 hours because there was a scrum after every fucking whistle. And there were 90 whistles because you couldn't pass the puck across 2 lines.
Another thing that Burke and they actually are promoting this on Sportsnet now, where he doesn't like the players, talking to each other before the game. And like Torts doesn't like that there's no hatred anymore.
Let's all
Barf.
do a little kindergartner. Let's all sit cross-legged in a circle. And say our names. Brian. All right. And what are 3 things you like?
Yeah, Brian's never had a take on what he likes. Really.
You know what was the biggest thing on social media for me, sports-wise, last week? Or I think it was earlier this week. It was Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, because they played their last game against each other.
Yes.
And they're best friends, and it's the best thing ever. They worked out together before the game. They're hanging out after the game. They did their post-game interview together.
On separate teams.
On separate teams. They played together for a long time, but now they're enemies, but they're friends. It was awesome, and everybody loved it.
You know what was awesome?
But in hockey, don't talk to the other team.
No,
because hockey's a different game, and it's not soft like basketball. Like that extraordinarily successful, you're a fucking superstar in every market basketball, where players, even bench players, are making $12 million a year. You want anybody, and I know it's fun and it's cool to make fun of basketball, and I know Chicklets does it all the time or whatever. The point is, they are the number one sport.
Someone's yum is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, they're the reason that they are. It is NBA is pop culture. If you want to have a business, the NBA is that, even more than the NFL now. Yeah. And the NHL is so far away from that. It's so far away from the pulse of. I had to explain to my I was at the gym and I was working out with my trainer. His name's Tom. He's from Yugoslavia. Huge basketball guy, loves basketball.
It's big.
Has tried,
huge.
Has tried to get into hockey. And I was trying to explain to him the seeding system. And he said, why would they do that? Like, the divisional thing. And he's like, why don't they just do 1-8? And I'm like, Tom, you're right.
Question.
That's a good question there, Tom.
Let's go on a journey. And I said, so I explained everything. And he said, that still doesn't explain why they won't do 1-8. And I said, Tom, I don't actually have an answer for you. I really don't know.
No, dude,
I don't know.
I've had to explain it from scratch to people before, and it's like, oh, why do you like that? Oh, we just do it that way.
Yeah,
we don't like it.
Well, and that's the thing.
No one likes
it's
it.
funny because
NBA
the NBA, they took away divisions even giving you a top 4 spot in the conference, in the playoffs.
Because who fucking cares?
Literally seeded 1-8 from your record, and that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know
if you
that.
win your division, you could be seventh in the conference. Your division's that terrible.
That's what drives me insane.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
That is the way and that's the thing. That's the way it should be. And what I said to Tom was the NBA, and I think to a large part the NFL lately has just been a total tire fire. Usually tries to figure out what the fans want, and then goes, does this fit the archetype of what our game is? The NHL goes, hey, we're so super smart that we're going to do something that you haven't even thought of yet, and that is so convoluted and ridiculous. When the answer, here's the answer. No, we're not going to do that answer. That makes the most sense. We're going to do the convoluted smart guy thing, and you're not even going to know what's coming. But don't worry, you're going to love it, and we're going to try it for 5 years and back it up, and then we're just going to change it arbitrarily again. In 5 years.
Why not?
Because that's what they do.
Pucks.
Without any explanation, without any knowledge of what the fans like. Because you know what? Well, they're going to like us anyway. But the problem is you can't attract new people.
Adam, you ever been to a restaurant where the waiter
We're complaining here, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You ever been to a restaurant where the
though.
waiter told you almost everything on the menu was shit?
No.
No, that'd be silly, right?
That would be counterproductive, yeah.
Defeat the purpose of having the waiter.
Although, if you could find me a good thing, I'd tip him more. If he said, listen, that's terrible. But this is really good.
There is a cafe, I think, somewhere in California where their thing is the staff members are mean.
That's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. They
cool.
go, here's your, here you stupid idiot, here's your meal or whatever.
I would pay for that for once.
Look, it'd be funny.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny while you were ordering. And then after they kept checking on you and like smacking you in the head, you'd be like, I don't like this place.
I feel attacked.
Yeah. I just there's nothing wrong with the sport, guys. There's nothing abnormally wrong about it. Listen,
there are improvements that could be made.
Of course. I think the problem with hockey is we never just enjoy it.
Well, look at Leaf fans right now. All we could talk about is Pietrangelo or Parayko or the fact that the Leafs need to get Matt Martin back because they lost a game to Tampa Bay and nobody fought Braden Coburn.
Flag football. You know a big, tough team? The Kings.
Yep, they're big and tough in last place.
Yeah.
I've never seen, I don't know, I can't remember the last time the Leafs were in second place. Not even just in their division.
And we were so unhappy.
No, just ever. 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 When was the last time they were in second place?
At this point in the year? It was the year McCabe scored like 19 goals or something ridiculous like that. I remember they were in a really high seed in December.
And then kind of
that was
regressed
the
a
last
little bit.
time.
Yeah. So that's 15 years ago.
It was a very long time ago.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Just enjoy this. This is ridiculous.
I don't get it.
Can I read you some of Jim Kite's stats? This is the guy who tweeted at Brendan Gallagher in 2015 that you wouldn't have survived the first training camp scrimmage in my era.
Oh, he
Even
said
Guy Carbonneau would have put you in the hospital. This is
is that something we want to brag about? In a training camp, you put another player in the hospital.
Yeah.
This is our bar. Okay.
This is Jim Kite, who was drafted in the first round, 12th overall in 1982 by the Winnipeg Jets.
Wow.
He in 1984 for the Winnipeg Jets, 1984-85
In the 80s,
season.
by the way, when
He
you got
had-
2 points for tying your skates.
He had 0 goals in 71 games, 3
What?
assists, and 111 penalty minutes.
Wait a minute.
So he's
He
not an
only had
NHL
100
player.
Wait, how many games?
71 games.
What did you do? Was he the goalie?
He was a defenseman. He was a defenseman.
So that's-
3 assists
You
in
know-
over 70 games in the 80s?
111 penalty minutes, though. He was a minus 26.
Jesse, can you look up how many goalies have more assists than that this season already?
I can't.
That's called not an NHL player, by the way. That's what that is. You're not an NHL player.
How bad was
He,
the Jets? They weren't even bad, were they?
No.
in
No, but like
598 games, his career.
Yes.
He had 17 goals.
Yo, he played over 500. That's a lot of games, man. I got to respect that.
17 goals, 49 assists, 66 points in
Brendan Gallagher got that
Oh, so
last
he
season.
just had an off season then.
66
That
points
one
in
season you
600
picked.
games.
It's not good.
Brendan Gallagher gets that every season.
in the 80s?
1,300 penalty minutes.
What would be the era adjusted on that, I wonder?
He has 1,300 penalty minutes.
Oh, well, true NHLer. He played the game.
Well, sorry, I was looking at the 100 and going, dude, like, okay, if you were the team's designated goon, like back then, you got like 250 penalty minutes or 300 or something like that. 100?
Anyways. So,
I don't know, not to dump on this guy who I don't even
It's
know.
funny that at
The
the
year
time we
after-
didn't know that. Like, we missed that. We were a show in 2015. How did we miss that?
It was November 2015?
No, I'm pretty sure we covered it. It
Did
was
we?
just a long time ago, that's all.
Interesting.
The
not remember
next
that.
year, following his 3 assist, no goal campaign, he had 1 goal
Whoa.
and 3 assists.
Whoa.
In
Calm
71
down,
games.
Jimmy boy. On fire.
Career high 12 points in 1988.
Hey,
But he gave the good players room.
the year we were
But Guy
born.
Carbonneau would destroy him.
Yeah,
Brendan
Guy Carbonneau
Gallagher.
would send you to the hospital like a good Montreal Canadiens captain should.
Can you play the Deadspin video?
Yeah,
If
so,
you're
okay,
pulling that
what
up?
am I playing here?
He gave the good players room. Not like today, where the good players find room by
Playing.
enforcement of the rules.
So yesterday on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, Teddy Bruschi, former New England Patriot, and Max Kellerman, the guy they're trying to make a thing. Stephen A. Smith went on there.
Max Kellerman's not a thing, is he?
No!
That's my Max Kellerman take.
Thank you.
Not
It's
a thing.
correct take.
The better show is with Shannon Sharp and our boy
And
what's-
Skip Bayless.
Yeah, Shannon
yeah.
Sharp is the best. Oh my
Shannon
god.
Sharp is
Adam, do we have
incredible.
to split this pair of headphones?
No,
Like the
so
Beatles?
I handed you those headphones over there. See that
Oh, you
silver
did.
thing?
Thank you.
Just plug them into the side there. And Jesse, you got your headphones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lego.
Okay. Ready?
Always.
Always. Never. Okay, so here we go. And the article is titled, by the way, I don't think Stephen A. Smith watches football.
I'm keeping my
play
eyes
video.
on this matchup right here.
Spencer
you got your
Ware's out.
linebacker. I'm sorry?
Spencer Ware is out.
Oh, yes, I forgot. I'm sorry,
Out
Max.
with a
I'm sorry.
foot, yeah.
Absolutely, he is out. But I'm thinking Tyreek Hill. I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes. I'm also looking at the San Diego Chargers on offense, and I'm thinking about Hunter Henry and the way that he's played this year and as effective as he's been. He's going up against Derek Johnson,
Oh,
and
no.
I got to keep
His
my
eyebrows.
eyes on that because I'm looking at it from the standpoint. Listen, here's where I'm at with all of this. At the end of the day, I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at
So in that video,
30 seconds long.
Now, I need a football fan to explain this.
you
to me.
need
30 seconds
to
long.
know the context of what he just said. All of the information he just delivered was incorrect.
Even though he said, I'm thinking about.
So he says Spencer Ware
Okay.
is going to be a top-notch player at that. Teddy Bruschi corrects him. Spencer Ware is out. He hasn't been playing. He's not playing.
And hey,
He didn't play last night.
there's one.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to
happen.
have that.
So
That
then
can
he goes on to say, Hunter Henry, going to be a dynamic player, going to have a great game. He's had a great season, he says. Hunter Henry hasn't played this year. He is not on the team.
Oh.
And Stephen A. Smith says he's going to have a great game.
Oh.
He's had a great season.
Brad Boyce, great for the Leafs this year.
Third thing, he calls them the San Diego Chargers. They no longer play in San Diego.
I didn't even
They
catch
play in Los Angeles.
I
Fourth
didn't
thing,
catch that.
Fourth thing, Derek Johnson, he says, is going to be the X Factor. He ends the clip with that. Derek Johnson's not in the NFL anymore.
How long is that clip?
The NHL, the Chargers actually tweeted out like, we're really excited to have LaDainian Tomlinson back in the lineup, who was a running back in the 2000s, like the early 2000s.
Adam, how long is that clip?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, and he got 4 things wrong.
The four things of information he said.
I don't like. I've been a lot wrong. I don't know if I've been that wrong in that short of a period of time.
Anyways, I just thought that was hilarious.
It's amazing.
30. Wait, no, yeah. 30 seconds divided by 4. He was wrong once every 7.5 seconds. Okay, so I was on Tim and Sid.
Hadn't heard.
I know. The Thanksgiving Thursday in the States, big football day. And so, I asked them, after they originally asked me to go on, I'm like, are you sure you want me to be on the show?
That day.
And, we're pre-show meeting, we're talking. All right, we're going to talk about this, and this for hockey. What do you got? And I'm like, I got this, and this. All right, what do you think about basketball? And I go, okay, I can talk about this, and I can talk about this and this. And I go, okay. Football. I go, don't ask me. I just said,
That's fair.
Don't ask me.
That's fair.
Now, I'm a random fill-in person / blogger child. I don't think Stephen A. Smith has the luxury of saying, don't ask me.
Well, I don't think.
But,
they never on that show cover the NHL. So if you ask Stephen A. Smith about the NHL, he'd be like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Although he'd make up an opinion. He is that good, and he'd say it confidently, and there would be people who would agree with him.
The Maple Leafs. I don't even like that name. The Maple Leafs need to stand tall like a tree.
Well, it was hilarious. They pulled together a supercut of all the NBA shows that are just like this. Mm-hmm. The archetype, the Skip and the Stephen A. archetype, which is two guys yelling at each other in a room, and they were talking about the Raptors. And one of the things Stephen A. Smith said, he's like, so what do you?
Chris Bosh needs to have an amazing season.
So what do you think about the Raptors? He's like, I think the Raptors are a team that are going to be under a tremendous amount of pressure, and people are like, what? They just beat Golden State and LA back to back. And he's like, well, now they've got to continue to prove it. It's like, well,
he's not saying anything.
That's nothing. And then Tracy McGrady's like, I'm not buying what the Raptors are selling until playoff time. They're not a contender until they can win in the playoffs. And
which is
one
fine,
of my favorite
benign.
Raptors Twitter follows, William Liu, said, well, T-Mac would know about that because he failed every time. Never won a champ. No
Never
rings.
made it out of the first round,
Yeah, he's a first round. And the Raptors win a round every year, sometimes too. But,
I mean, all right.
Anyway, funny stuff.
All right.
Bad sports takes, always amazing.
Did you see the Lunatics in Dallas? There's a Dallas Stars sponsored hockey league.
Oh my God! Well, yeah, those were kids, right?
That was crazy, right?
Students?
Basically, they're playing in this
they
Dallas.
were getting back to the roots of the game in that clip.
Well, let me explain
Oh my
it for anybody
God.
that's never seen it, and you can look this up because I can't really play it for you. But basically, it's two kids that are going hard to the net, and one kid takes the other kid down, and the other kid gets up and starts slashing the guy
No, it
across the
wasn't
back.
even that. One kid falls down. The other kid is taken down by a totally different kid.
Oh,
And for some reason, he gets up and starts
Wailing.
two-man slashing the first kid who was down. He didn't do anything. Not in that clip.
nope.
Even, he would be wrong if he swung his stick at the kid who shoved him. But to just randomly start wailing on
And it
this
was
other random kid on the ice.
It was like a lumberjack chop, right? Like it's violent.
You should get
That's
charged with
violent.
something.
There's
in
a
that
risk,
case, right?
Well, I don't
know
think they
how
are.
old they are. I want to say they're like 15.
He is
Okay.
suspended until
Indefinitely.
January. Yeah, January 6th, I believe, is his hearing.
Oh, wow.
So he'll miss, whatever game.
Oh, so he's not playing hockey.
No.
Like he's
Like
done.
hearing with their league or whatever.
Yeah, he's done.
He's gone for the year.
Maybe more.
The right thing to do there.
Playing a different league.
Here's what I would say.
Yeah, probably.
Put him in counseling.
Yeah.
Do the
Anger
right thing if
issues.
you're that league.
Yeah.
Put him in counseling.
Yeah.
Anybody that does that has got
I
other
didn't know he
issues.
was only
Yeah,
15.
I'd love to
that
know
makes
more.
No difference.
Still, even at 15, you nip it in the bud now, man. Start getting that therapy in.
Man, I'd love to know more. That's crazy. There's another clip from it was like a Quebecois beer league, and this guy just two-hand slashes a guy over the head.
And it was Guy Carbonneau.
And it was Guy Carbonneau, and it was in training camp. Getting back to the roots of the game.
Thank God Guy Carbonneau was there to send people to hospitals and tell you what a true Montreal Canadian should be.
Like
Tom
Like
Kite.
that dirty guy, Brendan Gallagher.
Tom Kite, who I've literally never heard of.
Jim.
Never heard of him.
Jim Kite.
When I think
Jim-
of
oh,
the
not
roots
Tom.
of the game,
Whatever.
I think who were guys who were great players, but they took no shit.
Mark Messier.
Mark Messier.
To this day, continues to be a guy who takes no shit.
Yeah, takes no
Doesn't
shit.
hold
or
cookies.
pictures.
Yeah, or pictures, or Steve's questions. Won't take those either.
Yeah. Now Messier, habitual rule breaker though.
You know
Sure.
what we'll take? A Lay's chip to the mouth.
Man,
for
but
money.
definitely not just one.
El-
Thanks, man. Wow.
Elbows.
I feel so good about myself now.
You get one every once
Thank
in a
you,
while.
thank
Adam.
you.
1 point. Very good. No, hey, you only need 2 more to catch Jim Kite. I don't even remember where I was going to go.
You're talking about guys who are
Brendan
good.
Shanahan
Yeah, never took shit.
never took Peter Forsberg.
No, he was tough. Eric Lindros. Scott
Oh, yeah.
Stevens.
He the only shit he took is when he got
Shit thrown at him.
full body weight to the brain.
Yeah. Chris Pronger. The ultimate skilled guy who never took shit.
You know what? But another guy who just got away with murder.
Sure.
He went to the Dustin Bufflin school of they can't call everything.
Brad Marchand, I was thinking about that last night. Brad Marchand is really smart in that way because Brad Marchand has set the bar so low and in a way that's positive for his team that refs look at him and go, well, that's a penalty for someone else.
Yeah.
But for Brad, that's not even that bad.
All right, so
I'll
you
save
didn't-
my penalty call for later when he does something heinous.
You didn't rip off his head this time.
Right.
So it's okay.
So it's okay.
Your stick isn't spearing him in the testicles. That's fine.
Yeah, just in the
Yeah.
face, whatever.
It's just in the face.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like he gets no minor penalties, just suspensions.
Yeah.
I wonder if Tom Wilson's also creating. And listen, I mean, I can't hate on. I hate the plays, especially when they're against the Leafs, especially with Marchand. But if I can't hate on a guy for creating that niche for himself and making a lot of money and winning games for his team. Both those guys have won cups, man.
He's Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
I can be the bad guy. That's how he pitched his character, man.
Let's do the press conference.
No press conference.
What?
It's
Jesse,
too late.
boo!
No, it's 2 hours.
Was it? It felt like
Did
we
it?
went a while.
Yeah. It's 2 hours.
Wow, that just killed the show. Thanks, guys. It's great.
I think you're
great.
supposed to kill a show that's over.
Wow, that's just burping into the thing and no question. We don't have one good question on that Reddit page?
Should I do my idea and pick a random sentence from the book?
Yes, do that. Also
Okay,
screenshot
I like
something.
that.
Tell me when to stop.
Sup?
Hey, I didn't know you were going to be here. Someone who had sat down near me said.
I have something.
Jesse
I have
has
something. I remember. This is from Eddie P. Eddie _P _412. Hey, Steve Dangle, at Adam Wild and Jesse Blake. My fiance and I are getting married on Saturday.
Hey!
Tomorrow. She listens
Congratulations.
occasionally. I listen to every show. Can we get a shout out to Marissa for dealing with me for as long as she has and for signing up for life and for hockey?
Man, that is a
What's his
long-term
name?
deal, Melissa.
Eddie and Marissa getting married
Marissa.
tomorrow in Pittsburgh, PA.
Marissa,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on. No. No, you can't. And also, I have
No.
something else, too, so you're not ending the show right now. Sorry.
Congratulations, Eddie and Marissa. Hey, Marissa, I'm sorry.
Hey, Marissa, can you do something about the Steelers? Also, Yeah, they're falling fast. Not good. Also, long-term deals. Long-term deals. You got to think long and hard about those long-term deals.
This is the longest of term deals.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Life.
And often in life, they are recommended against. But in this particular case, you have chosen to take this plunge.
This deal is just shy of Rick DiPietro's.
Wow.
Yes.
Very good. Divisional humor.
I have a request here, and we can't do it today. But Jesse, this is for you.
They're getting married. Oh, Lemieux. Sorry.
Kit Fitch to teach 129.
Kit Fitch?
Ritu Tech teach
Dick.
129.
Dicks.
At the disco. Says this, and she puts us on her Insta stories all the time. She's the best, and she asked if we could get, because the new Bachelor profiles are out.
Oh, no way.
And she would like us to go through them. So next
Let's do
episode,
it.
can you have those ready to go?
Yeah.
And that's what
I
we'll
had
do
no
for the
idea.
press conference?
Yes.
Okay.
Done.
All right. So that is what we're going to do. That is a special request
Done
from
deal.
Kit to Fetch Respect thing.
Dick Spect.
For the 13 of you who listened to this podcast before midnight Eastern,
I'm going to post it at 12:01.
50% off.
By the way, everybody's complaining about we're killing the No Sleep Squad because we're putting it up at a regular time. People are like, we will not kill the No Sleep Squad. We're staying up till 2 and watching it anyway.
And Newfoundlanders are like, shut up.
People in Finland who are listening at like 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.